Welcome to the Mound City Council meeting. It's Tuesday, June 25th at 6:01, and we're in Mound City Council chambers. Can you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we got our agenda. Do we have any amendments?
There was, sorry. Yes, there was a resolution sent out Friday approving the renewals for our local liquor licenses. All the background checks and everything are done. We just need to get this approved.
Okay, so we got our agenda, and then we have that one amendment, the resolution approving liquor license renewals. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Quick question.
Yeah.
So we're adding item D, this, to the consent agenda?
To the consent, yes.
Okay, all right.
There you go, and we'll call it item D too. Okay. All right, so we got a motion, or did you make a motion? Or you
No,
wanna make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with adding item
Or,
D.
I'm sorry, just the agenda.
Oh, yeah. I'd
Agenda
like
with-
to make a motion to approve the agenda as written with the amendment.
Okay. So I take that back. It's not on the consent agenda. It's not D. It's just agenda.
It is, sorry for the confusion. It is item D for the consent agenda, but
Okay.
we can approve the agenda with the amendment to the consent, I think.
Okay, so we're just adding it to the agenda first. Okay, so can I get a motion to just add that to the agenda plus the regular agenda?
So moved.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, 2 seconds. And any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the agenda's approved. And then we got our consent agenda. Does somebody want to go through those A, B, C, and D?
I can do that. Consent agenda, item number 4, we have A, approved payment of claims. B, approved minutes from the June 11th meeting. C, approved pay request number 5 in the amount of $130,837.09 to Minger Construction for City Project 23-03.
And the D. which
And
is
D.
resolution.
The
All right.
resolution for liquor license renewals.
All right, so we got the consent agenda. Any other questions on that, or anybody want to pull any of those? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember McEnany?
Here.
Councilmember Pugh?
Here.
Can we get a yes or no, or an aye or
Yes,
nay?
okay.
Please, thank you. Councilmember
Yes.
Pugh? Councilmember Castellano?
Aye.
Mayor Holt?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, and that all passes. Okay, number 5, we got comments and suggestions from members of the public that their topic is not on the agenda. You want to come up? Okay, hearing nothing, we'll go to number 5, resolution approving participation in the Just Deeds Coalition. You want to take this, or?
I will take this.
Okay.
Just get to the right page. So this is a resolution that was presented at the workshop on June 11th for the Just Deeds Coalition. The city council was very supportive of entering this coalition. By approving the resolution, this gives residents of Mound that have racial covenants under their properties the ability to go to Hennepin County with the support of some pro bono lawyers through the Just Deeds program to have these covenants discharged free of cost. And I think that was pretty much it. I mean, I thought we had a good workshop. Everybody's very supportive. I know we have some supporters here. Mr. Mayor, if you wanted to give them opportunity, I think they'd like to say a couple words.
Yeah. Okay, so again, we workshopped this, and like I said, we're all supportive, and if you guys want to come up and say a little something.
Hi, my
If
name
you-
is Leslie Gillette. I live at 6,000 Evergreen Road. I
Okay.
think I'm your neighbor.
Oh,
And-
with the water. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yes, well, we have
As-
water.
As a resident of Mound, I would like to express my appreciation of the positive response that the council has given to considering joining the Just Deeds Coalition. I think it sends just an excellent message to our community and to future members of the community that all people are welcome here, and that the council and Mound disavow the intent behind the racial covenants and recognize the long-term impacts of that systemic discrimination. I'm also a member of the League of Women Voters of the West Tonka Plymouth area, and as a member of the League, we are committed to seeking diversity and inclusion in voting and encouraging as many people as possible to vote. And I think that if people feel welcome in their communities, feel they have a voice, then they are more likely to vote. So thank you very much for your positive consideration of the resolution.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You're up. Just give us your name and address.
I think this is the first time I've spoke at a City Hall meeting. I'm Pastor Ryan Pronzinski, Senior Pastor at St. John's Lutheran Church, just across the street there. I found out from Leslie that our property had one of these old covenants, learned about them within the last 4 years, was appalled by such a thing. You know, theologically, we are taught that all human beings are created in the very likeness of God and have dignity and worth. And I know that there's not a ton of people at this meeting, and this is probably going to go quietly, but I wanted to come and say thank you because this stuff matters. It really matters. And I don't want to be on a property where at some point in time people couldn't come and we couldn't actually live our mission, which is in our mission statement, and that's welcoming all. So thank you for helping us, live our mission, even though I know separation of church and state and everything, but we can't control this, you can, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else want to say anything? No? All right. Well, again, yeah, thank you guys for coming out, and like we said, we kind of talked about this in depth in a workshop, and I don't know if it's on there or not, but we, all the different properties were listed, and addresses, and we're going to do our best to work with you, or the Just Deeds group, to make sure we can get letters out, and, people have to know about it before they can fix the problem, so, yeah, we'll do what we can to help out, so. So we have a resolution, I'm sorry, I don't have an agenda, so I can't.
I do, but I had like one point of discussion or a question.
My thing's not showing.
I had one
Okay, go
question I
ahead, yeah.
wanted to ask after the
Yeah.
resolution too, if that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, well, so we got a resolution on page 1533. Does someone want to make that?
I can do that. I'd like to make a resolution condemning the use of discriminatory covenants, discharging discriminatory covenants on city-owned property, and approving participation in the Just Deeds Coalition.
Okay, so we got a motion by Castellano. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, 2 seconds. You can pick whichever one you want. Okay, so we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this?
I did, but just after.
Okay, all right, we'll talk after.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that passes.
I just had a question on, so like reading the resolution, it was saying, like, we can do it, like the city-owned property, it kind of, we then do that, but like how is it communicated to residents, and what would residents need to do? Because it sounds like they kind of need to join this on their own.
So the Just Deeds Coalition has it's called a toolkit, some pretty standard language we can put on our website, but there are many cities that have already done this and sort of laid out a blueprint for it. So that was my plan. I know that the mayor had talked about getting something out more directly, which we can certainly do, and we wanted to get included in the coalition first, and I think they have some help as well. So I think that there's some abilities through that group to communicate as well. But the main point of contact will be through the coalition, but we will have a presence on our website
Okay.
for sort of a pass-through. But we're going to do our best to try to work directly with residents too. Like you said, Mr. Mayor, if people don't know, they can't do it. So,
Right.
but you know, there's only so many ways to get a hold of people, so.
I was thinking like, are we just gonna add it to the next newsletter too?
We can certainly do that. That's
Yeah.
coming out in,
My understanding after reading it from our April email was that Just Deeds, the group would be sending out letters to the 300
Oh, okay.
properties.
89.
Got it.
Yeah.
They have identified all the properties, so that was my understanding, that they would be sending letters.
I thought that as well. But then for those who don't check their mail or, you know, whatever, we'll have tools as well.
Okay. That's it.
Cool, thank you. Thanks again for coming out. Okay, and then we got number 6, request to authorize bidding for the Harbor Park District Phase 1 improvements and the Transit Center paver improvements.
Go. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Turn the lights down a little. I will anyway.
Okay, she might need it, yeah. Yeah, I think that's that one. Can you see that? Is that good?
Yeah, it's as good as it's gonna be.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of the council, Matt Bauman, city engineer, and I'm here kind of to give you guys an update on where these projects stand, and then just get some final considerations before we look to get these 2 projects out for bidding. The Harbor District Park Improvements Project and the Transit Center pavers, and then I understand there might be some naming changes considered later on, so I'll coordinate with Maggie on what we actually go out for bidding with here. With that, right. Okay, so just to kind of walk you guys through the process again, HKGI put the study together in 2022. There's a few other projects going on in the area, the Three Rivers Park Trail Crossing, Artesa Construction, the Met Council project happening right now, and then the long-term financial plan. And then we got the 2 tied projects, so we got the park itself down here, and then the transit center pavers up here. If you recall, the pavers are falling apart in this area, and then the park project going on here, Artesa's down here, the Met Council's working right about here right now, so kind of hopefully getting out of the way pretty soon with that project.
How soon on that?
I
On
got
that
an
part
update
of
in
it.
the, I got an update in the schedule later on here, but it looks like they're shooting for the end of August is when
Oh, okay.
they'll be all wrapped up there, and then ready for the Three Rivers group there. And then the pieces that we've been working on kind of to get to this point, coordination with Minnehaha Creek Watershed District. You know, those pavers were originally installed 15, 20 years ago, and they were a water quality feature at the time. We've been having discussions with them, and then what that means for as far as doing in lieu treatment for ponding, and we've come to the understanding that the 2 sites are separate, and then the treatment needed to make up for what the pavers were providing is actually very small. And so you'll see that later on in the concept plan. So the original size of the pond was much bigger. We're under the understanding now that we can get by with like a 500 to 1,000 square foot rain garden instead of, it was like 6 times bigger before that.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
I think it's a
And so we've got some draft agreements reviewed between us and them. On July 11th, they're gonna take that agreement and our final plans to their board meeting to get that all approved, and then we would follow up, getting ours approved as well, once we get the projects all approved for bidding. About 2 weeks ago, I was here, met with the Parks Commission. We kind of talked through some of the design elements, which is a lot of what I'll go over here in a little bit. And then when we get to phase 2, we'll work on some of the artistic pieces that'll come with that phase. And then here again is the schedule. So Artesa scheduled to complete around August. Met Council, similar time frame, a little bit later in August, and then Three Rivers Park. They're waiting for Met Council to get out of the way so they can come in and do their work. So there'll be a lot of action still in downtown here
So we are
through the fall.
doing the crossing this fall. Hopefully.
I haven't heard that for sure, but
All right.
they have bid it, so it's,
Nice. So it's all ready to go.
it should be ready to go. We're just
Met
waiting
Council.
for seeing agreements and that type of stuff.
Awesome.
Yep.
You're gonna make a lot of people happy.
Yeah. It'll be nice when all this comes together.
Yep.
And And so part of the conversation with Mihawk Creek, so we're gonna replace, right now, we're looking to replace all of the red area in asphalt. Before we had looked at it, kind of trying to keep some of it in permeable pavers. They've agreed that that's not needed. There's no reason to continue putting in something that doesn't work. So we're gonna do the red area now. The black area is still in good shape, so we're gonna leave that for future improvements. But basically, we're still designing everything, putting in the treatment required for both areas, so that whenever that needs to happen, it's all under the agreement between the two entities. So that's was a positive coming to light there. So now we kept all of the 5, 6 elements in the phases here. I'll touch on them a little bit just to refresh your mind what was in the HKGI study. So there's the community event lawn, the big green space. There's the plaza gathering space here, kind of in the shape. One of our concepts keeps that shape. There's the promenade, so the walkway. That's kind of the biggest piece that we're going to do in the first phase here, besides the green space. There's seating at the harbor. That's more of a future phase. And the art walk and hammock grove, so that's kind of the landscaping piece, another future phase. There, performance area improvements, we're prepping for that, item 6, and then placemaking upgrades and farmers market, that's kind of off in a future phase that not much is planned for right now. Go ahead. Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
before we get way farther ahead too, so the red area that we are replacing, like that's locked in, we decided that it's planned to be all asphalt, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure I heard you right.
Yeah, that was a great meeting that we had with them, so all asphalt going forward.
Okay, sorry.
Yep. All right, so again, phase construction, HKGI just recommended an initial and a future. We split it into 3 to work with the long-term financial plan, and then just get in there as soon as we can once our TESA gets going with the biggest pieces being the green space, get the road out of there, and then get the fire access route along the side. Get some of the underground items in. So that's kind of what you guys saw a couple months ago, so the 3 phases of the 3-phase approach here. And if I'm going too fast or you got any questions, then stop me and jump in.
So, how long, I forgot that we have the policeman in the back.
Yeah,
I wonder if we could just push pause and let him get out of here. He's not on the agenda, but he was gonna come last time and then he got called on something. Would you be okay if we just push pause real fast?
that's fine, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to come up? Sure. I heard your thing and I couldn't see you because he's in the way, so. Anyway, just come up, give us your update.
So all I have basically is for the last 30 days, so May 24th through June 24th, some of our calls for service in Mound area has been no apparent abnormal upticks. The trends have been disturbances, domestics, medicals, thefts, welfare checks, vehicle accidents, assaults, DWIs, death investigations, nothing that we haven't seen.
Okay.
The only uptick I'd say is juvenile complaints, but that's due to school letting out. It's nothing major, it's just things we have to go and check on and deal with, but there's nothing that is alarming.
Okay.
We are being very proactive right now with Centerview Beach. Centerview Beach actually one of our youngest officers discovered that it was an issue and brought it to our attention. And she noticed it, and we kind of got working with the city, from what I understand, and got that hopefully under control. There's supposed to be no parking signs put up and a chain put up across the launch to make sure we kept, but we figured that was coming with the closing of Surfside, like we closed her down. That caused it, and we got on it. I think we've got it under control now, so we'll continue to spot check it, monitor it as much as we possibly can. If there's anything that we aren't seeing, and you guys hear it, let us know, and we will get on as quick as we can.
Okay.
We were contacted by a resident in Mound on Linwood, behind the Balboa building, about the people cutting through the detour on Shoreline and using that as a throughway. They were very gracious that we could use their driveway, so we set up on there a few times. I think we got her under control. I mean, it's never ever going to end, but we will continue to monitor it, and first we'll start educating, and then we'll start tagging for stuff and writing tickets for it to stop that. Because then I know, living in a neighborhood like that, we know you can't be having cars fly through there on rush hour traffic trying to get around detours. Let's see. From what I learned, Commerce Boulevard was supposed to have stop signs put up on them, Commerce and Bartlett.
Yep.
I've noticed they were there. I went home last night at 3 a.m. and they were up, so that was nice to see. I also noticed Bartlett and Shoreline has them up now too, so that was remedied, from what I understand. I know that was starting to become an issue, and it seems like hopefully that works out and we got that controlled. As far as Surfside goes, I just talked to Josh, our CSO. He said the weeks he's been there, it has been very quiet. Nothing's really happened in there, and nothing's spiking in there anymore. So he's going to continue and finish out his assignment there for the rest of the month, and then we'll address it. If you can address it with Chief, I guess, and see what the needs are. But I think we've kind of had the education and stuff like that. Juneteenth was one problem, but we kind of did more education. People weren't aware of that holiday, so we had to kind of be a little more lenient on that day and educate them. So, but as far as our stats down there, we had 52 contacts at Surfside, and 40 of them were spot checks of our officers just being proactive and going down there. And then 1 citation issued for parking violations, 1 citation issued for expired registration, verbal warning for littering, 1 suspicious activity, and 1 medical. So that's what we got for this month. Any questions from you?
You've done a great job down there. It's really getting cleaned up.
It looks like, yeah, it looks
Is
good.
it a lot better on the weekend?
Oh, so
my
much
God,
better.
yeah.
Really? Okay. I haven't really looked, and I guess I have a question. Like, what is the tie-in between, like, regarding Centerview Beach? I mean, it's, you know, you guys doing spot checks and enforcing it at the launch and enforcing the signage, but then isn't that part of that, like, what's the LMCD's role in that as well? Like, do they just kind of complaint-based contact you guys, or how does that, like, does the Water Patrol also participate, or how does that even?
I'm not fully sure on how that all works out and who contacts who.
Okay.
We respond to you guys as to what your needs are and what we see going on, so we go that way. We don't really deal with the LMC from what I'm aware of. Water Patrol help us out. Water Patrol is at Centerview Beach helping us with that, but anything that's on land, they're not totally invested in. It's all water-based, so
Okay.
if it goes in the water, they're there. If it's on the land, it's us. So.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I just saw 2 different social media pages that called out, like, your guys' great responsiveness and just saying that the city was notified and it was already being dealt with, and that was really cool to see.
Hopefully it's controlled.
Yeah,
So.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt. Let him get all do work. Do his-
Not a problem. I can go on the
Makes
fly.
sense. Makes sense.
All right, so we left off just kind of touching on the phases here real briefly. So some of the concepts you're going to see after this are kind of showing everything all together, but we're going to do it in pieces here as we step through and work through the long-term financial plan too. So right now, we're really just going out for bidding on what's going to look like this, with the ponding obviously not looking exactly like that, much smaller now. So phase 2, that's going to focus more on the landscaping, the big concrete spaces, the plaza, the seating area, the fire ring, get the lighting in. And then phase 3, which is for sure a few years out, is going to be the open air shelter and then the performance area improvements.
Can you go back to that phase 1 again?
This list?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the roadway's gone. You're gonna do just some stormwater stuff. Just other side. But isn't phase 1, are we doing, we're doing grass, right?
Yeah. So,
And then we're doing the path.
yep. Those are going to be the big
Okay.
things. We get the grass and the path in, and the small stormwater feature in, and then get some of the underground pieces like the irrigation. Get
Okay.
that stuff in, conduits for future wiring and lighting. We're going to get that stuff in, so when we come back for the next phases, it's a lot less disturbance is the plan.
But the irrigation will be one, or at the phase 1.
Yeah, we want to get
To
that
keep
in
it nice.
right away. Yep.
Okay.
And then if we need to make
He says-
small
he says,
changes
"Thank
in the
you."
future, we can tap onto it and spread it
Yeah.
out. But yeah, we want to get a lot of it done right away. Yep.
And then also that, I guess it was page 1544 or whatever, that showed the plaza gathering space, seating, right? Art walk, we're doing all that.
This,
In
1544.
which one is that?
1543,
I don't have numbers on my, on this.
they're all in different phases.
Yeah. It just says Harbor District Park, maybe just go up a couple. Yeah, like that whole.
This
list.
one?
The one
that initial
before
phase.
is easy to see,
Yeah, the go,
Yeah.
yeah.
that one.
So two, this will be the concrete piece and the shelter, or the concrete piece, that's gonna be phase 2. And then the seating area at the harbor will also be phase 2. And then a lot of the, kind of the outside landscaping will be phase 2 as well.
So go to the next page where it lists it up. So community event lawn. So no more dandelions, right? So number 1. Number 2, plaza. That's the initial phase.
That's referring to the big concrete space here. That's the plaza, so that's phase 2.
Okay, so initial phase doesn't mean phase 1.
Right. So
Okay.
what we discussed, so we're gonna take out the roadway here, and that's got a bunch of gravel that we
Right.
wanna salvage. So we're gonna actually put that in places for where the plaza and the walkway are gonna go. So instead of those being green initially, they're gonna be gravel, and so kind of prep for the next phase of concrete. But not all the concrete itself.
Will it look good?
We'll-
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, we'll work with Public Works and we'll make it look nice. Yep.
Okay. So really, we're just talking about grass, and you are putting some trees in?
Yeah, we're gonna focus really just on this space here on the west side.
Okay.
That's kind of what was in the budget.
Separating the Artesa and the
Yeah.
park,
Yep.
but not all that other,
That's
The
phase
trees.
5.
Yeah, so that'd be,
please.
these pieces here would be phase 2, and the reason we wanna wait is because that's where the arts pieces are gonna go. We need to work all those details out yet, exactly what that looks like, what we want in there, and then kind of build the landscaping out around that for
Okay.
final
So what is
pieces.
phase 5? Is that the art walk?
All those are just numbers, so it's
Numbers.
item 5, Art Walk and Hammock Grove. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that's down here. So our phases combine different pieces of it to kind of hit financial, or to hit cost milestones.
Do you have a new schematic showing how you've been able to reduce the water pond and where
Yeah, so
it's going to be?
the concepts that I'll get to in a little bit, those all showed the size that it's going to be.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thanks.
And then Matt, our goal is to do phase 2 next year, right?
Yeah, that's what's in the updated capital plan.
Yep, okay.
Like springish?
As soon as you guys, yeah.
Okay.
We should be able to work through a lot of that stuff over the winter and then get that going
Okay.
pretty early next year.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry,
all right.
go ahead, yep.
So I think, okay, so here, the decisions for moving forward, this is kind of what we worked through with the Parks Commission on the following concepts, so the plaza space layout, the concrete color schemes, the seating area layout, and then the art walk and hammock grove layout. So just, HKJ put the study together, we wanted to, look at a little bit different layouts for it, and then kind of get some consensus on what it ends up looking like. So these are kind of the different pieces. So this is concept 1. This looks the most, this layout up here looks the most similar to what was in the HKGI study as far as the plaza space. I will note on all of them, we shifted the shelter down and to the right, so that you can't really see it, but there's a Met Council easement here that we need to stay out of, so it's not up in the corner like it was in the original study. And then concept 2 was a little bit more of a rounded shape there, some different colored patterns, different seating, and then so the landscaping here, the hammock grove, this looks the most similar to probably what's in the HKGI study as well there. And then concept 3 was just to give it another option, and then we explored the idea of putting a kind of a separate trail in here, with the red being those kind of art installations and the hammock walk being over here. A lot of why we did this was because we initially thought we were going to need a great big stormwater pond here, so that was kind of our leftover space. So those were the three concepts. So we reviewed the pieces kind of separately, and then we made a combined concept 4 after all of this. So what the Parks Commission, they liked the shape over here of A, and then the color pattern of B. The C was kind of tossed out as not a big fan of it. And if at any point you guys want to revisit any of this, then just let me know, but I'll just go through, kind of working through what they picked here. We talked about the seating area, the different options there. And so what the white represents, those would be the pavers that are in this space here now that have, they have names and stuff on them. So we're going to salvage all those and incorporate them into the seating area.
When you say salvage them,
They're
redo them? Or take
they're in
those?
good shape because,
Are they?
yeah, the pavers that are down there haven't been subject to salt. They're not beat up by plows or anything like that. So they're good. They've got names on, people invested some money into them. So we're going to reuse them one way or another kind of in the space.
Okay.
down
Well, I
there
love
that
you
we're
reuse
proposing.
them, and if there's some that you can't read, because I think there are, if I remember right,
Yeah,
You're gonna
we might
redo
have to
them,
work
or-
through getting some
rework them.
redone, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Someone's got a master list of.
do you know how that all happened?
Who
How
did
those
them?
got,
Before my time.
no?
But
So there haven't been any new ones?
they're all donated by families, so.
Okay. Yeah,
We got
well,
a- yeah,
They were-
I'll-
Yeah, we donated one, we went through the city, so I can't believe there's not a master list
There's
of
gotta be
everybody that
somewhere.
donated a
Yeah.
brick.
yeah, we'll just have to follow up. I don't know who did the engraving or what, how all that works exactly, but yeah.
I've tried to read some of those, and I'm like, I can't read it. Maybe it's just me, but
Well, it was a long time ago.
They're-
A lot of salt ago.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just
I'll-
saying, if some are.
I need to take a closer look, I guess. I thought they were all pretty good down there, but maybe some are not, and we need to have them redone.
There's some that are really good, and then there's some that are not.
Okay,
So just, yeah, look at them and just make sure, because if some need to be redone or something, we gotta figure that out.
get an inventory of them, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
anyway.
so yeah, so that's what the white is representing, is
Yep.
we want to keep that aspect of that space, and we'll move it up here. Then as far as the different layouts, we talked about it, there wasn't really a consensus from the Parks Commission, so the future concept, we just kept A, because that worked the best with the landscaping coming out of there, but if you guys have a different preference, then, let us know. That's all generally Phase 2 work, so we got some time to work that out as well. There we go. And then the last piece here we talked about is the art walk and hammock grove. So the lines here would be the hammock posts, and then the art installations are the red dots in there. And so, A is kind of the bare bones. There's not a lot of landscaping in there, but it gets the job done. B is pretty similar, a little bit different locations for the hammock posts in there, and then quite a bit more landscaping, so whether that's, mulch and perennials or whatnot, but that was the chosen layout, and then, as I mentioned before, C was kind of pushing everything over to near the county road to make space for the big pond that we don't really need. So they all agreed that B was kind of the best fit and kept with the original plan. So we took all that and we put together, concept 4, our current design. This is what we're working through, putting out for bid, the pieces of it anyway. So again, we're gonna get the walkway in here, the grass pave access there, and then focus on the landscaping here. And then the size, this blue spot, that's all the bigger that the rain garden filtration basin needs to be.
That's great.
So we're out for final permit review right now, so hopefully that all stays the same, but, we've been talking with them for months, and we're under pretty good understanding of what this looks
It's
like.
great you could tuck it in way up there, so you have all this green space where the pond originally
Yep.
was gonna be. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that kind of opens it up for, wherever, if we're having performances here, there's some different options for setting people up and then kind of being big and open.
Perfect.
And you said that the top left performance area? Did
Yep.
you say that had to move or no?
So the performance area is actually down here,
Oh,
is what it's listed as in the study.
what about the
um,
cover thing up there?
That is the shelter.
The shelter?
Yep,
Did you
so
say that
that's-
had to move or no? Or you had to
That,
move
yeah,
it?
that's what we moved, so that was originally kind of up in the
Oh,
corner
okay.
up here. And, yeah, with the easements and stuff in the space, we
Okay.
wanted to be out of there.
Is the path from the plaza to the performing area, is that all pavers too? Or concrete,
Different colored concretes.
Okay.
Yep. So we're gonna stay away from pavers everywhere we can. Is the plan besides
No more
the
pavers.
special ones.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
So this will go right up to the farmer's market parking lot.
Yep,
So
we're gonna,
literally-
yeah, we're cutting a little bit of the farmer's parking lot off, but once we get all that concrete in, they'll be able to kind of fan out into that space.
In
the
that
future.
whole gravel area, they can
Yep.
do some kind of food trucks or whatever, well, whatever we can do there.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So, and then just update on the cost estimates, the Harbor Park, that's pretty, we're still sitting pretty similar with, as far as what projecting final cost for the phase one. I mentioned at the last meeting I was at, Transit Center pavers, we were talking about that bidding this fall for construction next spring. Based on those changes, based on the understanding of the Minnehaha Creek and being able to do all asphalt, we're projecting our, that piece of the project to be only about $250,000 instead of the 900 some if it had to all be pavers that we projected a couple years ago. Just to note, there's gonna be a little difference in what the bid comes back in because of, what parts are going to which, being billed against which project. That's, the project itself is gonna go for about $314,000. And I think I have it. I'll jump back real quick. This sidewalk here was supposed to be bid with the downtown walks. We held that out because we thought we were gonna be doing some storm sewer in there, so we're gonna bid that with the transit center pavers instead. So that's part of that cost difference.
Can you get me up to speed? This all started, I think, before I was on here, but do we have the money set aside for this?
Yes.
The park?
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
first phase, 745?
that one, yes.
There's
We do.
money coming from the sale of the land
Oh, perfect.
to Lifestyle for the Artesa project.
Okay, great, thank you. That's even easier to swallow.
Yeah,
knowing that
Noah
it's-
was much happier when I showed him these numbers.
So
That-
we got a
with
check
what it's come
for
down.
7, right?
700,
Was the number on the dot, so
yeah.
7's the number.
Perfect.
And we're just basically but yeah, phase 2 and phase 3 are gonna be a little harder to
Okay.
stomach, because we gotta figure that out.
Yeah,
Now,
that's a lot.
we also did put that into the long-term financial plan, right? So,
Yeah, so we did, the cost projections for all the phases are scheduled within the long-term plan. So
Great.
we have an idea of how it'll be financed.
And that's where we can play a little bit the landscaping and
Yeah.
what is the budget and
Right.
what can wait and kind of work pieces in
yeah.
the future.
And I think that's what residents look at. They go, let's phase it 2, 3, 4, 5, It's like, I want to be done with it. Let's just get something there.
Right.
But obviously, we got to be responsible with, the money part too. But the first phase is easy because that's the money they gave us for the land.
Mhm.
Done deal. But
Well, and visually, that's going to look great.
yeah, at least
Yeah,
just
what
having
this
it
is gonna
cleaned
make
up.
downtown look
Yeah.
like is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Worth the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to that the asphalt. When are we doing it?
Well, so I mentioned, 2 weeks ago, I said, I think we're doing that next spring. I
Right.
showed these numbers to Noah, and he says there's no reason we can't do it this fall, so.
Let's go,
we're-
Noah.
We're gonna,
Nice.
as long as we got your blessing, we want to get it all done this year.
Is no mad at us for yet?
No.
We're pretty pretty insistent, right?
If he was, he'd say he wasn't.
Noah's just sitting there like,
He loves this stuff.
Yeah.
He's mad at accountants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, that's good. Again, we're doing all these sidewalks.
Is that like an
doing
emoji?
this surf, let's just get some of this stuff done.
Yeah, we'd
And then
get
we
it as
can-
cleaned up as we can.
Yeah, okay, well, I like that.
Yeah, so I did update, the schedules, so, February, we were looking for authorization, so after tonight, as long as you guys don't have any potential changes to the concept, we want to finish that up, get it posted for bid, and then bring that back in July, so that potentially as soon as August, more likely September, October, that's when they'll be getting in there.
Right,
But, yeah, we'll get both of them going here this
Good.
fall.
cool.
And that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions? Do you have any
I do.
comments?
I have a few, but they're really easy, I think. I don't know, I'm excited about what it's gonna make downtown look like. It's gonna be awesome. I was looking at, this might be more of a question for parks and open spaces too, but on page 552, where it lays out the different plaza and promenade options, and I don't know anywhere else where this would be, but calling out the color scheme and the concrete. Have we thought of like design options where, I just want to have like the littlest opportunity where we get the beautiful new park done, and then in 3 years, there's areas that look like, oh, why did we do this, and now this already needs to be replaced, or like colored concrete? Is it just literally that, like colored concrete, or is it like that painted on concrete, you don't see really anymore, like?
Yeah, it'll be colored. It comes out with the tint in it.
Yeah.
And then
Like the
they
sidewalks
put a little
that we
bit
did.
sealer on there. And that,
Okay.
and that'll actually help because we're gonna go with more of the flip-flop color pattern. So when we get to phase 2, there'll be a break there. So if they're slightly different, it's not gonna stand out. Like, it'll look intentional.
Okay, okay, because other than that, there didn't really seem to me to be anything that was, not like short-sighted, I mean, it's not like keep saying the word pavers, but like, things that can wear out, I mean, it looks like it's pretty good then, I guess. What do we have for, I guess this is kind of what Councilmember McEnany had asked earlier, but for budgetary impacts, like, not just the phase 2 and phase 3, but like ongoing annually, what would we be looking at for maintenance, I guess?
I mean, there's gonna be parks, weeding
Parks
and,
budget, but.
yeah, weeding, refreshing plants and stuff like that, and then mowing, but I can't see much more than that. Some irrigation.
The big one was like the irrigation equipment, right? I mean,
We'll take care of irrigation and, the mowing, the mulch will be a big undertaking with how big it's gonna be, but we're gonna.
so like having this fresh in my mind as we roll into like actual budget season, like is there anything that you think we should be kind of keeping in mind as far as budget goes, or?
I'd sit down with Matt and kind of go over what the final plans are gonna be.
I mean, I know you guys do your
Budget-wise,
own.
some of the material costs that we budget for parks yearly, we might raise a little bit because of how big some of those mulch beds will be. Other than that, it's, I don't wanna say maintenance free, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of just mowing and
Yeah.
upkeep.
Okay.
It's not a ton of materials every year that we're gonna need.
Just be incorporated into like the parks budget and the public works budget, and, okay, I mean, I'm all for it, I was just wondering if there was anything like glaring that stood out, but.
I think it'll be easier than replacing the pavers that are in that circle now, so. If that's any justification.
Cool, okay, I don't know, I guess I didn't really have anything else too big.
Well, my comment is, as always, age-friendly. And I love our new park at Surfside, but I noticed that the 3 beautiful benches have no arms.
We're working on that.
And that should not have happened. So I think that we need to be really clear in any specs we do moving forward on the downtown park, is that furnishings need to be accessible and usable and age-friendly, basically having arms on them, or set so that people can easily get out of that. So we need to,
Sherry, can I add that,
yeah,
they were ordered,
okay.
and we got a couple of them.
Uh-huh.
We got a notice this morning, we're not gonna get our order because they come from southern Minnesota, and their plant's underwater, or their warehouse is underwater. So, we don't know how soon we'll get them, we did get a couple, we will be
Okay.
installing those, but our order just hasn't been fulfilled,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Yep.
So, are you done, or?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. On that note, when you look at the walkway there,
Yeah,
there's not like rocks in between those, are there?
no, so this will all, so the kind of the tan crosses,
Yeah.
they're just a 2-foot wide strip of concrete,
Oh, okay.
and then 12 by 12
Kind of colored.
brown pieces, yeah, so it'll all be ADA, everything.
Okay, all right.
This whole strip is ADA, the big plaza's ADA, the seating area will be ADA. We haven't really figured out, right now there's steps and stuff on this piece down here. We haven't gotten into the full design there yet,
Yeah.
what all that'll look like exactly, but yeah, we're very conscious to try to, making sure that this is all gonna be easily walkable, traversable,
Okay.
Yeah.
and flat without hopefully ponding or holding any water anywhere.
Right, yeah.
Good job.
Thank-
Especially
thank you.
reducing
It's
the
big.
size of that pond.
Yeah, it's a big team effort here.
Yeah, it looks great.
I want to congratulate your board for
The park board,
the park board, yeah. I mean,
they're
I know
very
you guys
excited about,
love all that and
yeah.
spend a lot of time and energy going through these too, so appreciate it. Okay, so do we have to approve anything or?
No, so actually, when I was here last, we got authorization to bid. I just wanted to give you guys one last chance to comment before we got the first part out here, so I think that is all, that's all for me, so.
Okay, so just last thing on where the phase one project schedule, like, I think it's a couple, yeah, that one. I know we're not doing papers, but the transit center part, final completion, is that,
I just list that as if there's grass or something that needs to come in, so we're gonna list November, middle of November is when we want all the pavement stuff done.
Right,
As-
okay.
As the deadline, yep.
I just thought of one more question. Maybe this is on there and I didn't see it, but what about like lighting?
Lighting is phase two.
But like, where is it all?
Oh, so it's kinda hard to see, but it's like the black dots.
Okay,
It's all just really around the perimeter.
okay.
Is where it's slated right now. So we're gonna get all the conduits in around the perimeter. That way, if we need to do something in interior, we can add more later. And then we're gonna get some sleeves across. So, we have potential to do future work over by the farmer's market lot, so,
I was kinda
electric
concerned.
hookups and things like that if we need to.
And this
Okay.
is pedestrian lighting, so it's not the real tall one, it's the ones that kind of.
To be determined exactly, yes, if we're having overhead lights or if we're just gonna have little, I don't know what you call them exactly, but
Yeah.
the arm height lights that,
Yeah,
just
right.
kinda light up the trail.
I guess I was more concerned about like for, just safety in a new park, and if it does its job, it should hopefully bring a bunch of people in, but like, based on square footage, and maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but like, do you see like the middle of it just being very, very dark, or is it not that big where like, I was thinking pedestrian lighting meaning like almost overhead too, but not like streetlights.
Yeah, we might need some kind of combo. We haven't done a lighting plan
Okay.
in detail yet, so,
Just curious.
yeah, there's some room for feedback there. I think we wanna get it green first and then see.
Yeah, it might
what-
be later on.
Mhm.
Okay.
so assuming this is all done and built by November, when are we gonna start talking about phase two and start bidding that out?
Typically, after we ask for go-ahead on a lot of the stuff right after the capital improvement plan is agreed on
Yep.
for the next year, so we'd get rolling on it.
Okay, so in the fall, early
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah, we'll have to balance it with all the water treatment plant things we're working on too, but yeah.
Right.
That, a lot of it's gonna be done here. It's some of the details of exactly what lights and irrigation pieces, but
Yeah,
the
something.
civil pieces are kinda figured out already.
I just don't wanna wait like another 3 years to do number two if we're already putting it into the budget.
Keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Right, I was just thinking about, we've never talked about when we're phasing in, like transitioning Festival of the Lakes to this park, because that was one of the intents.
Spirit of the Lakes.
Spirit of the Lakes would come here.
There's such different vibes.
Yeah.
I mean, with fireworks on the lake, I can't even
Well,
picture people
we're
wanting to
not saying
switch.
that all of Spirit of the Lakes would come.
Oh, portions of it.
Portions
But
of it.
portions of it,
Yeah, it could get bigger.
because by coming to this downtown park, it will do something Spirit of the Lakes doesn't do. Spirit of the Lakes just suffocates downtown.
Yeah.
Downtown becomes dead space. So if we're moving some of their activities
Yeah, they could do
to
both.
this, it can be more supportive of our downtown businesses. And, we do need to think about the phasing of that transition. And that's a conversation we probably should initiate with them, to talk about that.
Yeah.
Festival
And
could
just
get
like
bigger.
even with the Christmas piece, like,
So-
we're gonna bring back the fire circle,
Right.
which they used to do. And so, in 2024, we're gonna do the fire circle in the new park with,
Well, my hopes is through WCC is that this new path
yeah,
would be our lighted walkway. And obviously, we gotta work with the WCC and stuff, but do that, and then maybe in the gravel spot, we do, the bonfire area. and use maybe less of Veterans Park this winter.
Right.
And use more of this park, and that could be kind of the, maybe we even throw the tree over here, or maybe we leave the tree, I don't know. You guys figure out where you want the tree, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we do need to start talking with our other partners
Yeah.
about their transitioning into this park. You know, because part of this park is to support their activities and grow that for the city.
Jesse, you're in contact with Jess and WCC, I mean, right?
We're gonna see Spirit Lakes on Thursday.
Okay.
And we can just plant a seed
Yeah.
as far as that goes. And
Okay.
then the next, they didn't have a WCC meeting this month, but there'll be a July one, and it sounds like there's some time.
So I would maybe bring this slide here when you guys go to it and just say, you know, hey, let's start thinking about, you know, how are we gonna do this lighting, you know, lighted parkway, and work with Public Works to, you know, we're gonna have to buy some equipment, buy some wire, you know, rods or however you wanna do it, but, I think, you know, a lighted walkway from even just there to there, you know, with, some themes, and I think that'd be pretty cool, and, you know, we can expand on it, make it even better next year, but.
I think the Rotary Club is a big donator of the Christmas.
park, yeah.
So we'll have to tap into who's willing to
Yeah.
donate expense.
I
Because
know
there will be an expense.
WCC, I had a meeting with them, and Jesse was there, and they definitely want, you know, our help, if, I mean, it is in our park, but, and I went to the Christmas one, of course, was that right after? No, that was right before I had my back surgery,
Well,
but
it
I
was-
was not feeling great, and so I was like, kind of felt bad it didn't help, but it's all the people, just, you know, it took a long time, you know, we're doing the fire truck thing.
It's really
and-
enjoyable.
Yeah, it was.
People really enjoy it.
Yeah, and yeah, we were there, handing out the
Sure.
stickers, and.
It was warm,
It was
too.
warm, yeah,
Yep.
because I walked.
It was a beautiful night.
But yeah, I would, Jesse, if you want to mention that, and you and Councilmember McEnany can start planning the walkway and light it up thing, and talk with the different groups. And I know Jess, I mean, they're open, just like with the new playground, I mean, they're very open to moving, juggling things around. You know, that might be a reality of this year, you know,
Sure.
2 days a year, they have, you know, they need some room, well, here's another park for you.
Right.
You know, we can do maybe something, you know, maybe the food trucks are down there, and you have to come down here for this, go down there for that, I don't know, we'll figure it
Well,
out.
and remember that we also talked about the farmer's market lot being ice skating, not hockey. But,
Okay.
you know, for regular skaters. in the
Well, and that's
winter.
not in any of these phases, right?
So they mentioned the
That's not
flooding.
in any of these.
It's
No,
in,
it's
it's a
mentioned.
suggestion. I would like to, I could bring in probably 20 years of people who maintain the Shirley Hills rink.
Mhm.
And I think we really need to think very carefully, because it's a huge laborious task to
Right,
maintain
well, we
ice.
talked about having a partnership with Community Ed around using their Zamboni
Yeah.
to smooth out the ice and stuff.
Yeah. Ryan, I have a question for you. Does the city of Mound, in a stash or in a locker somewhere, have any Christmas decorations?
We have some things, most of them are very dated.
Okay.
And they're definitely at the end of their life.
Got it. I was hoping we could maybe tap into your storage locker for decorating.
Very much so at the end of the life. We've been working towards replacing the wreaths ever since I've worked here. And we still don't have them replaced.
Okay, good, thanks. And by the way, those flags everywhere always look so amazing. Good job.
So we need to add Christmas decor to the
Right,
budget.
To the wish list.
yeah, it's a wish list.
So, is it you guys, or do you outsource the lighting in Christmas?
Lighting gets outsourced, the wreaths are all on us.
Right. And how, well, we can talk about this later, but with the outsourcing, I know Eric was a big fan of that because it's just too much work for you guys to do it.
Well, we do this event in November, and we're usually finishing up street sweeping and hauling, and
Yeah,
there's just
Just can't do
not
it.
enough time to do all of that. And, yeah, I had to pull my whole staff off to go do that for a week, and
Yeah, okay.
I remember seeing the line item, it was like pristine lighting or something, like, and it was like the price, I was like, oh man, that's totally worth it for what it means that you guys don't have to do.
Well, with that and this like walkway, maybe if you have any ideas with, you can share with Jesse on how we would tackle that, as well as Councilmember McEnany. Again, in my 2D head, I'm just thinking like a thing over the walkway, but, you know, however you guys want to do it.
That's a day or two, but to
Yeah.
wrap all the trees that we wrap,
Right.
you're working for 2 weeks.
Right.
With the whole crew.
Cool,
So,
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we'll have to decide how much we want to holiday
Yeah,
decorate
too.
this park too.
right.
Well, I think there's, again, from what I've heard, I think people really would really like that.
Yeah, it should look great.
And I think it you know,
Yeah.
even with what you suggested with like having the best lighted house in Mound or, you know, whatever, you know,
Yeah.
doing a contest, you can like fill out the thing. You know, just bring it all full circle, I think would be.
I mean, it'd be fun to
Good.
bring it back to when it was down, you know, with the big bonfire and.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
I would like to add that, you know, phase 1 is not gonna have all the trees.
right.
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah,
Phase 1 is not gonna have all the trees, and then the first couple of years, we should let those trees establish before we start decorating them.
Yeah.
When we put the tree in at the Christmas tree lighting area, we were trying to do it right away, and it didn't really take, and we had to let it grow for a couple of years. We had to build
'Cause
a surround for it.
yeah.
I'm sorry?
Didn't they build a wood frame around that tree?
Yes,
And
but,
so for a couple of years, the lights were on the
Yeah.
wood frame and not on the
Yeah.
tree.
and I don't wanna I don't wanna stress all these other trees, so we might have to wait a couple of years until they get established a little bit before
Well,
we.
I've been really looking at, I have some ideas
Yeah.
to still make it look.
And we have talked about putting outlets in and, you know, having the electricity there for future decorations.
That's in phase 1.
Yeah.
Phase 2.
Oh,
Yep.
Again, we'll get
Somehow we
conduits there, the wire and all that can be done
Yeah.
shortly after.
so just like the lighted walkway, are we gonna have enough power for that? Extension cords and stuff? Or?
Depends on I don't know exactly what's down at the performance area.
That's gonna have to
We
be
might have
upgraded a
to
little bit.
sneak something in there, I guess, we'll
Okay.
have to look at it a little closer.
Yeah, there's not enough power there right now. We'll have to add some.
Okay.
Well, think about that with phase
Yeah.
1, because
Yep.
that's important. You
Phase
gotta,
1 currently doesn't include the lighting, which is when we would install the circuits for that.
Right.
right,
So we may have to come up with an interim solution to power those things until the lights are put in, because a lot of those circuits are either with the lights or the outlets themselves are on the light poles or light pole bases.
okay. So, again, I think we want it, so just see if you can do some kind of work the first year,
Okay.
work around, or maybe we add one, I don't know. This is not my world, but add one box or something, or,
We'll have to take a trip down there and see what we got.
cool. All right,
Okay.
okay, so that's it then, right?
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right, thanks for all that. All right, and then number 7, request and authorize Bolton and Mink to proceed with final design and bidding state appropriated portions of the water treatment plant improvements. Finally,
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. It's been a hot minute.
it's been a while.
Good to see you all again.
Yep.
I've got Matt signing these things now as city engineer, so I guess I should introduce myself as Brian Simmons, senior city engineer, I suppose.
Ooh, I like that.
I think I signed a letter the other day that was client service manager too. Maybe that fits.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, the same team that you know and love, but Matt's just been doing more hard work for
Yeah.
you guys with the interim public works director and all those things. So, thank you.
Yep.
What you have in front of you tonight on the council agenda is actually a little bit procedural, but we wanted to make sure that we did not skip a step in the necessary transparency here. You previously authorized, or the council previously authorized, the preparation of plans and specs, which in retrospect was maybe a little hasty because it was right after that was authorized that we found out we did not have full unfettered access to that $10.3 million as we understood that we had from the legislature. And I'm still not going to use the term unfettered access to the way that the money has been described, but earlier this year, with the amendment being made to the bill that granted that $10.3 million,
we now have the ability to spend some of that, and spend some of that on some specific things. So the resolution that accompanies this letter, where I'm throwing out some, just one second, happy scroller. The resolution that accompanies this, sorry, man. The resolution that accompanies this reauthorizes the preparation of plans and specs, so that we have that sort of in order now that we are actually getting ready to get to work on it. And the language that's in here is copied directly from the amendment in the bill. So what we want to spend that 10.3 on, it is not the entirety of the water treatment solution.
Right.
I just want to make that clear in case anybody's watching later, or make sure I've said it out loud, is that we are still working towards, we need that to complete the solution. And if you'll look at the costs, that we're going to scroll to in just one second, you'll see there's a funding pending gap where the actual plant goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to design the plant, and then we're going to design and bid a couple of the extraneous pieces around the plant to make it work. So water main replacement between the two towers to serve the central plant site, design and bid and construct a new municipal well. We have to have a larger capacity well at that Sorbo Park site, and then decommission some wells. This is a little bit of housekeeping that was always part of the plan, but one of those wells, I believe it's number 7, right, Ryan? That's the one with arsenic in it that we can't use anymore anyway. So we're going to clean up our house from an EPA and an MPCA standpoint and make sure that all those things have been capped and decommissioned, and they're not going to be a problem for future council. So this is, and I want to say very preliminary, but I'm putting a schedule out here that shows us with a date that we are going to be bidding some things. So you'll see some construction pieces in here. And then I highlighted that June 2025, the treatment plant approved and shovel ready. So that means we are anticipating a year from now that we will have designed the plant. We will have gotten approvals on all of the processes and the necessary permits and the things on how we have designed the plant. But having that in hand, shovel ready, is the distinction we are making to continue asking for the remainder of that $36 million we need to complete our water treatment solution.
Right.
And having it shovel ready means that we've got plans on the shelf. We are ready to bid. We just don't have the money to pay a contractor to build it yet. That takes us one step farther in the process when we are asking for money both at the state and the federal level. It shows that we are serious. We are not turning back. We are not going to abandon this process. And we've already spent a bunch of money on it. So here's our completely designed, gorgeous water treatment plant. And then you've got that in hand to go and ask for more help.
Right.
You scroll the cost, Jesse. Or are you just on strike now? So this is our, again, preliminary breakdown on how we're proposing to spend the $10.3 million. And you'll see in there are some things that are design and bidding administration. I'll just be upfront. Yes, paying us to engineer some of these things is a little bit front-end loaded, and that's part of the transparency here, is I wanted to make it very apparent that we have no choice but to do that in a design, bid, build world. But I wanted to make sure that after the fact, we can't ever be accused of hiding that or having been self-serving that, hey, the engineer got paid. In this case, we're doing that for a reason, and it's to make that plant shovel ready. So those numbers are up there, and they are in there. Some of those are round numbers, like the new municipal well at almost $1.7 million. There's a possibility that that could come in a little less. Possibility it could come in a little more. Wells are a volatile thing when you have to develop a well. Sometimes you can drill a well and you need, so many hundreds of gallons per minute, and after you develop the well, you may come up short. And so then the contingency plan would be to drill another one. So without having done any geotech, the number that we have in there right now is to drill a well and a backup well. I think that's kind of all there is in the letter. Do you have any questions about this or the resolution?
Well, I think you've probably gone through this, but
We'll keep doing it.
can you remind me, where is this new well going to be? Or did we just talk about that? Is it
So-
over by Sorbo?
Yeah, so, but there's the woods behind
Yep.
there's a well house over there
Uh-huh.
now? What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, eight's
Yep.
over there now, and the woods are sort of right behind that building. The treatment plant site is into that.
Okay, perfect.
The city
Thank
parcel
you.
there continues back, and there's a kind of a knoll back there, and so then we'll probably be using some of the park for some things, but we're not gonna turn the park totally into a treatment plant. It's gonna sit farther back.
Great, I didn't know that, so thank you. Good
I,
spot for it.
and I apologize, it might have preceded you, where, when we did the original study, there is a site plan, but we can make sure we get you a copy of that shows where we propose to put that. And also, that's a thing that we're gonna be working on too.
Perfect,
Have
thanks.
have we done any neighborhood process with the residents around the site as to what's coming?
We have not yet, and I would say that authorizing us to work on this is the step that kicks that off, Sherry.
And remember when I was first on council, I think it was the second meeting or third meeting in, and you came and said we have this big problem. I'm like, great, that's not why I wanted to join council. But here we are. One of the questions I asked, because I live right around the corner and my kids played at the park at the time, you know, and I said, well, that's a lot of room there, you know, but like, am I gonna hear it, right? You know, again, I'm around the corner, and again, the thing at the time was it'd be just a teensy little hum, and maybe a couple of neighbors in the immediate area would hear it, maybe.
Yeah.
If not, no one else is gonna hear it more than a couple houses away.
I mean, there is moving water, but it's inside you know, it's usually a cinder
Right.
block building.
Yeah,
So it's not processes that we don't have happening there already inside the well building. You know,
so basically, we're talking, there's one neighbor to the west of well 8 as it is, and then there's a couple of neighbors across the street. The east side is the park. So really, it affects one person directly,
right.
and potentially, but they're already living next to well 8 anyway. So whatever they're hearing or not hearing, you know, again, I walk by there all the time. I don't hear anything.
I'll say in general terms, it shouldn't be intrusive.
No.
And one of the things that we can glean from, you know, some neighborhood or council collaboration is, there's not a lot of architecture to a concrete box, but what we can do with that concrete box, we will do.
Right.
You know, in terms of,
Soundproof it.
yeah, I mean, you've all driven by the Bradford Met Council lift station, right?
Yeah, I
In
mean,
Wilshire.
yeah.
And then there's
Looks nice.
the screening that faces
Yeah.
Wilshire that's made out of the panels that are the different
Mm-hmm.
colors. All of that was chosen intentionally by an architect to better fit in with the neighborhood. We will do some of that.
Yeah. And remember, this is gonna be behind the current well anyway.
You'll be able to see it from the street.
Yeah,
once-
but
when we're
still,
done.
it's not gonna, I mean, it's already a concrete box anyway.
Right.
So it's
Yes.
not gonna look that.
We'll be
much.
as creative as we can with the concrete box.
Right. So,
Hence your design and bid total, because you gotta be really creative here.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
well, and just for the, you know, while we're telling you to design and build it, because technically we could find someone else,
You could?
there's nobody better. You've been with us for how many years?
Oh, I've been working out here for almost 20.
You,
Mhm.
and then your firm?
Yeah, since 2005.
Right. So, again, we've toyed with this. I know his predecessor, we've talked about it too. And, yeah, you're getting a nice chunk here, but at the same point, for us to go out there and bid it out to other firms that don't know our system, don't know what we've been through, they're not our, I mean, you're basically, I mean, you're not an employee of us, but, you know, you've been with our city. You're basically, you know, part of our staff in some aspects.
We enjoy
There's-
operating as an extension of staff.
Extension, yeah. So there's, again, just to weed this out, so if
Yeah.
5 years from now,
Absolutely.
someone looks at it and goes, well, why didn't they, you know, try to get all the other firms out there to do it? Because it would cost more than that, because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, to
We
get them
have
up to
Brian and
speed.
Matt's
Right.
institutional
Yeah.
knowledge.
Right,
Yeah. So,
I hope you feel there's value to that.
There is a
Senior
lot of
engineer.
value to
yeah.
that.
And thank you for saying
Enormous.
yeah. And at the
Yeah,
same,
I-
at the same point, keep the cost low.
that. We won't
We
be-
wanna see every
We
dollar.
won't be egregious. There
Yeah.
is some language in the letter a little bit, but one of the other reasons we want to put some of these costs out up front is that we're going to have to report these things at certain times.
Right.
So that you can get reimbursed.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some things in the billing of our time, like some of these things will get billed lump sum, so that they are easier to reimburse for, and that should be sort of transparent in the process, whether we bill for it hourly or lump sum, you know, it's about the same anyway. So, because we've been doing this for a while,
Right.
you know, and to be, full disclosure, Matt and I are not designing your water treatment plant.
No,
No, I know, but I just want you to know, we've got a team. You guys have met Bob Bean before doing
Yep.
stormwater stuff.
Yep.
Mr. John Groutman, who's been with us in some meetings with Jesse, is our water treatment expert on working on this with us. So you may eventually get to meet John as well.
Nice.
Or hopefully as we're drinking those first glasses of water that come out of the treatment plant together.
Can't wait.
I don't want the first class.
I'll take it.
I'll take
You're
it.
like a water beef eater.
I'll take it.
Test it
Yeah,
first.
yeah, I'll take it.
Can you go back up to the timeline? So, right now, we're just authorizing to spend the money, this is already momentous, historic, whatever you want to call it. A lot of blood, sweat, tears, not sleeping at night, testimony in front of the state and the Senate, Capital Investment Committee, you were there with us.
The stop on the whistle stop tour.
Stop,
Multiple
I mean,
stops.
so much that went into tonight to get to this point, to actually spend this money. Even last year, the emotions of, we got the money and then we can't spend it, oh my gosh, oh my Lord. So, anyway, so we're doing that. You know, the July, August survey began, pre-design. But again, so for the public, I mean, they're not gonna see a lot of stuff until when?
Well, hopefully if we can roll survey out soon, you will see surveyors on site, you know,
Okay.
doing what they need so we can get started. But, no, after that, it's gonna be quiet for a while because we're gonna be hunched over our drafting tables, you know, working away at this.
Yeah, so all things going great, perfect weather, we keep chugging along. When are the residents gonna start seeing actual something happening?
So the first tranche, if you will, because that's the term that's been used, but
Right.
when we break this up into what things can be packaged so that we can spend the 10.3 without having the full 36, the County Road 15 trunk water mains,
Right,
the construction of that will be the first thing that you see in our faces.
yeah,
And then the remaining of the trunk water mains, and then some site improvements that will include making a mess, drilling a well, cleaning up the mess, getting things ready for the foundation of the water treatment plant, you know, depending upon how it fits and how the money is shaking out, maybe we will design the parking lot, you know, and get the site all prepped, or maybe we'll just grade it and then leave the rest of it, you know, because you have to install a pretty robust foundation, and it's usually underground tanks and things like that, so we don't want to, you know, have sidewalk and everything in and then have them drive over it and crack it, so we want to be careful not to give ourselves work to redo, but we want to get as far as we can.
so the main thing is spring, with all this working out, we're gonna start seeing County Road 15 be taken apart to put in improvements. And again, I know you've said this 1,000 times to us, but the diameter needs to improve, right?
Yes.
Yeah, to get,
When we centralize the treatment plant location, and we still have the two towers, we have to install some transmission mains to circulate that water to where it needs to be, you know, to some of the major intersections of water pipe, not just traffic intersections, but the junctions and intersections of the water pipes, so that the clean treated water can get to where it needs to go in the correct volumes.
again, let's just say all this is ready to go, we got a shovel-ready deal, whatever. We're here or not here, a couple years from now, and nothing ever goes forward. What we do for 15 and improving those pipes anyway is actually not a bad thing for our system,
Not at all.
yeah. So.
We have mostly not addressed the water mains that were not problematic under the county roads, because
Right.
the county holds those controls on the pavements.
Right.
And so there are some, you know, possibly that, who knows, maybe we'll have a water main break in the future and discover there was something that needed to be addressed. But in this case, you know, we're gonna upsize and replace with new.
And so we're tying the two water towers together. And so just, again, high level explain, what does that look like? So from Sorbo Park-ish, or is it more just on 15?
No, well, there's sort of a route to get out of the neighborhood and
Okay.
not jump right onto 15, but then 15 coming, you know, towards the other tower.
Okay,
So
and then
that's-
going through, which way does it cut through?
Do you know offhand the route, Matt?
It comes up on
Right by Artesa?
15, comes up by 15, so not on Bartlett, that's a smaller name.
Not Bartlett.
Yeah.
And then does it cut through main part of town, or?
Yeah, the larger main cuts under, south of Artesa, and then up to 15.
So it's basically the parade route is what we're talking, and then stoplight over to the main tower.
And because these are existing mains that need to be larger diameter, we're gonna utilize all the tools in our box.
Yeah.
You've heard us talk about this before, but we will plan these projects for as much trenchless installation as we can. When I say trenchless, it's not truly trenchless. We have to dig pits to access, you know, and
Parts of
get the pipes in, but we're not gonna do wholesale excavations.
Okay.
No, we're not planning to dig up all of the streets.
Yeah, so we're
That's
not,
expensive pavement to replace.
right. So there'll be spots where you'll see kind of a hole, and you guys pull in the pipe, or however you do it, and put it back in, or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah, we'll have new plastic pipe staged out on the roadway where it's not dug up.
Right.
And then it'll get pulled in, and then they'll backfill the hole, and then we'll
Kind of like
test
what they're
and-
doing out.
Exactly what they're doing out on 15
Okay.
right now. Yep.
Nice.
And in fact, that's a somewhat impressive operation if you're
It's,
nerdy like me and you get over that way.
yeah.
Did I understand you correctly in that now that we're going to be spending all this money, we're going to be shovel-ready, is that going to help everybody asking for money going forward?
Yes, there
Because
are.
we're 10 steps ahead of maybe some other cities that haven't.
So there are certain types of funding that we are anticipating coming up in the next 2-3 years, that certain buckets of money will only be available to shovel-ready projects.
Perfect. Great.
So,
Great
so
job.
having those plans in hand, you say, look, we're serious, we spent the money, here's our design, help us build it.
Well, I want to give credit to Jesse too, because when nobody got money this year, with the Bonnie bill not passing,
Right.
didn't happen. You know, I was like, oh man, that's tough. And he's like, Jay, don't worry about it. Once we get this thing, we'll come and we'll, even if we did get the money, we still would have to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if you have a better speech than that, but he made me feel better.
Thank you, Jesse.
I didn't prepare one.
Yeah.
No, it's great. And we worked closely with the PFA to make sure that what we were sending out there into the world made sense to them, so they'll release money, and I think it's gonna work out. I will say, years ago, when I was part of building a treatment plant, we did it as part of a plat of a bunch of new houses, and we built 7 or 8 houses around the treatment plant with just a small berm, and you'd never know it was even there.
Oh.
I mean, you get up on top of the berm, you'll see it, but you'd never hear it. I mean, it's filtering it through sand, basically, so it's not like the pumps that are in a wastewater treatment facility that are constantly spinning and making noise. It's,
That's reassuring
Yeah.
for the neighbors.
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I make the distinction that it's just moving water, because I fear that there are maybe different schools of thought on how loudly you can hear moving water, but personally, I don't think it's that loud.
Yeah.
Well, it should be soothing. It's kind of like,
Right, it should be
you know.
soothing. Puts the baby to sleep,
Yeah, it
right?
puts
Are we gonna
babies
live
to sleep.
stream
long
our
as it's not
plant
just
as an
like
ASMR?
Black music or whatever sound.
Well, if nobody has gotten a tour of the current wells as it is, you gave me a tour a couple years ago, and it's very interesting. It's not a lot going on. It's like a pipe coming out of the ground. But
Underwhelming.
But it's interesting, and seeing your little phone, and Ryan's connected 24/7, and anyway, I'd highly recommend getting a tour from Ryan. It's good to see, and I'm more visual, so to kind of see how it works. Yeah, go ahead.
So the only thing, I will say, there is a lot going on, but, other than that, the only noise you're really gonna notice, or anybody's gonna notice around there, is that we're gonna have to bring in some extra generators for this facility, and we'll have to exercise them regularly, so
Okay.
that's really the only complaint we get from any neighbors, but we work with them, and we try to let them know what our schedule is. We do it less in the summertime, a little more in the winter, just to exercise them and make sure there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Are we gonna dismantle the old towers, or are they gonna stay?
Good question. Are we gonna dismantle the old towers? I mean, we have 2.
We're
Keeping.
not going to dismantle the old towers.
Okay.
There is a future project in our capital improvement plan to remove the stand pipe, which is I'll call it a hydro pillar, but it's a water tower that looks like a straight piece of pipe on the island.
Okay.
That one is shorter than the other 2, and so it doesn't provide any benefit. And we took it offline a couple years ago, and we installed all of the additional lines to the island to make sure we had adequate residential flow and fire flow.
So
But the
for-
towers themselves will stay.
Okay, and
Okay.
what's the benefit or non-benefit of having them stay?
Well, we have to have water in the air to have water pressure.
Okay, so we
And
have
we-
to keep them for
Yep.
that purposes,
Yep,
but
if-
we're not using,
If you ever see Ryan running around and freaking out, looking like his hair is on fire, it will be the most silent-looking emergency ever if the tower is empty. It's very bad. It's very bad.
Okay.
But if the tower is empty, it's not like a building on fire. It just, something has happened in the system where the tower no longer has water in it. But that's how we continue to distribute the tower with gravity, or distribute the water
Sure.
with gravity-powered water pressure. So we have to have the towers with a certain amount of volume, and we have to put it up in the air to make it distribute through the system, and that's how we actually have some influence over how hard that water comes out of your shower head and, pelts you with the hot water when you're taking a shower.
So we could do like other cities, like Lindstrom made theirs a teapot. We can make it a tourist attraction.
Well,
The
there
other problem
are.
is paint is extremely expensive.
Right.
I know.
It is, it is. But eventually, those water towers do need to be repainted
I know.
anyway.
Yeah.
So that is not, also just full disclosure, that is not part of
We'll
this.
do a big walleye or something.
It is in, yeah.
Sailboat.
It-
Yeah.
Yep.
It
Recording the towers is in the CIP, inside
is?
and out. Yep.
When,
Yep.
for what year?
Hard questions.
Yeah.
There is a calendar that gets released every year with the best looking water towers in them that gets distributed to all of our cities.
Oh, fun.
Great. Well, I know people want to replace the one downtown. And that's pretty,
It's
then we get featured on Care 11 and they videotape that one. It's like, really? It's like, can't you videotape Sorbo?
Let's be clear, we're not going to replace it, we just need to repaint it.
No, I know,
Right, yeah.
paint it is what I'm saying.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's definitely the first one if you ask me.
Oh, for sure.
The one right coming into town. So,
Right.
anyway,
That one's nice.
off track. Okay,
And it's such a boring color, that tan.
yeah. Way to get
That
you to
was the
design a new
tan
logo.
phase, when they were redoing everything, rerouting the road and everything. She liked tan everything. A previous
Grayish,
city manager.
grayish.
Grayish. Well, it wasn't called grayish back
Or
then.
is it so boring you don't notice it? Because it could be
Yeah.
still boring.
All right, well, this is the big moment. This is the big moment. We're
Okay.
Thank you
authorizing to
for
do this.
Everybody for all the hard work, especially, Matt and Brian, for sure, you've worked tirelessly on this, so.
We've had good partners, all of you, Jesse, Maggie, Ryan, we've had good partners, Eric,
Yeah.
so.
All right, who wants to do it? This is the big one.
I'll
You should,
make a
you should do
motion
it,
to-
because it's
All right,
kind
I'll
of your
do-
baby.
I'll do it. All right. All right, I'll make a resolution applying for a grant from the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority and authorizing preparations of plans and specifications for water treatment plant improvements. So I got a motion, and can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion on this? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, that passes. Thanks again. All right, now we got the next one. That's you
Manhole.
again.
Yep, I'll take
Resolution
it.
accepting quote for the 2024 manhole rehabilitation project, PW 2405, and awarding the 2024 manhole rehabilitation project to Floor Coat Midwest.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Senior City Engineer Brian Simmons again. Somewhat less dramatic than the last agenda item, but just as important to our infrastructure. Interior coating our sanitary sewer manholes is a rehabilitation and a maintenance practice that we have been undertaking now for a number of years. I want to say at least 10. But we've been going around and taking high-resolution photos of the insides of these and analyzing them for, where could they be leaking both in and out, in and exfiltration. And so then we spray a hard coating inside of them. This is a continuation of that program. And the manholes or underground structures in this project for this year are in the Dutch Lake and Shirley Hills area. As you can see, we put this project out for bids. We got 3 bidders. Matt tells me the engineer's estimate was right around 110. So coming in with the low bidder at 103 is a good number. We saved a few dollars. They are a contractor that has done work in Mound before and a significant number of these types of rehabilitation projects. So we have no reason to do anything other than to recommend award and construction of this project. And with that, I will stand for questions.
All right, does council have any questions?
I do not.
All right. Page 1564, if someone wants to make a bid or a motion for that.
I make a motion, resolution number 24, accepting quote for the 2024 manhole rehabilitation project, PW 2405.
Okay, we got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Now we got number 9, consider recommendation of the Parks and Open Spaces to rename Harbor District Park space to Lost Lake Commons.
All right, I can do a quick introduction of this. So, Mayor and Council, this item has been kind of going to the Parks and Open Spaces Commission for a few meetings. So with the Artesa development project coming to an end, and with the hopes of it being done by August, and the rename of the street in front of that, the next phase is kind of what we were talking about before, the what is known right now as the Harbor District Park. And so I think in February, the city council approved the city engineer to start working on the phase 1 of the project. And so at that time, it was decided that the park commission should start kind of finalizing and discussing the name for this park. So again, the process involved the park commission having several discussions on it, and that included going back to that 2022 HKGI study where residents were surveyed. There's some names that were provided with that survey from the public. And then there was another portion of that study where residents voted on, I think, narrowing it down. And so per that survey, it was the highest percentages were Harbor District Park and Lost Lake Park. And so that was, and then another consideration was trying to reach out to the Historical Society. We didn't have a lot of luck with that, unfortunately, but there were several attempts over a few months that that attempt was made, and so the Park Commission felt like they at least attempted to get that process rolling. So ultimately, at their June 13th meeting, all that information was provided to them, and there was a discussion on kind of finalizing that name. And so based on, again, all the past comments and surveys and community outreach, they recommended to the city council naming the park Lost Lake Commons. And I don't know if, I know Sherry had a great explanation for the Lost Lake name at the meeting, which I don't think I could replicate because it was,
Well,
you can
what
say it the best.
What I said for Lost Lake was that it was symbolic of a history of the lake in our community. That it was, you know, a lake that, you know, as Lake do in Minnesota, they go from lakes to marshlands to becoming bogs or whatever. I don't know which is the order of that, but that that we had seen that transition in the in this area of Mound, which when I was a kid, people used to fish off behind the post office on what now are our docks, and get a lot of fish. Really, it was considered a really good fishing location. So it's always been a place in the center of the community where people have gone to get food, for recreation, just the enjoyment of the outdoors, and that it, you know, represents part of the history of the city and the town. That's not exactly what I said, but I can't remember.
Yeah, no, I think it was like, for a while too, I think you had mentioned it had kind of become something else, and then it was kind of revitalized. That space was revitalized within the last, I think, couple decades. So I think that was, the Park Commission agreed upon the Lost Lake idea, and then I think Commons came into place because the idea was that it was more of a open recreational space instead of like a traditional park. And so is it like a more inviting name, or a name that fit like inviting the community to this space? And
It helps signal that it's like a commons, obviously, like with that name, and then have, it's like the events in downtown park,
Yeah.
you know?
right.
Yeah, we were concerned, though, that it might get caught up in the other commons that we have, you know, because we have all those other commons.
Yeah, we do have a, like with our doc program, it does, there was worry that the commons name would get confused with, because we traditionally call it the doc commons, or those doc spaces, commons spaces, and so there was concern about that.
So, in the end, that's, y'all like the commons, though.
Mhm. We did try out Promenade,
Lost Lake Promenade?
yeah, but we have a promenade in the park,
True,
so.
yeah. I mean, that was the first thing I thought of too, is the commons is, you know, part of the dock commons, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I guess the name implies that it is common area, right? So that makes sense. At the same point, again, in my head, being that, you know, we're all super involved in this stuff,
Yeah.
it's the dock commons program, right?
Yeah.
For the average person, would they even care or think about it? Or if you're not on the dock, parks, or council?
If you don't have a doc or you're not on the waiting list, and
Yeah.
to even elaborate on that point, the commons is already confusing because all the doc commons are not the same.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Where you're at's different than
Yours
where
is
I'm at,
different,
and it's
yeah.
like they all have different rules already.
True. So, but, yeah, that was the first thing I thought of, that I'm like, you know, why did you pick commons? I tried to read the minutes, there's not a lot of minutes, but then the other thought I was thinking, like, well, if Harbor Park got the most votes, you know, 2 years ago, why are we doing Lost Lake Park or Lost Lake Commons? You know, 61% versus 45. But I will say, partly where I do agree with it is, it's a signal of a change. You know, it's a harbor district. It still is whatever you want to call it, the harbor district, but
Yeah.
we're making a signal that this park is going to be called not the harbor. So we're starting fresh with something new. So I
Yeah,
do like
this
the
park
newness.
is supposed to be the place where we will bring our community together
Right.
to do common activities that build and enhance the livability of our town.
Yeah.
I think it's a really nice name. I mean, I was all in favor of something Tonka, but I think this is a nice name, you know, with Lost Lake, the condos right there,
Yeah.
but I really hope that we can honor a couple of, you know, Tom Rockfam, the Andrews sisters already are, and Tonka Toys somewhere within the park. You know, maybe we
Yeah.
name the promenade, you know, Rockfam, who's a was a walking encyclopedia of everything Mound. Everything I've learned by not living here, I've read all of his books. He was a walking encyclopedia. He spearheaded getting the Andrews Sister Trail in. I would love to honor him, and I'm sure his family would be blown away by that. But I like the name a lot. I would love to see us to be able to, you know, in the iconic Tonka Toys. I mean, we don't honor that anywhere in Mound. Somewhere in there, I would love to do that.
We still have the thought, you know, of doing that sculpture piece, but we have
Mhm.
to find out.
Yep.
We have to find out if there's some legal
Right.
restraints on that.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if we could do that, I feel like this would be such a complete park by.
The park committee didn't like the idea of naming it Tonka Toy Park.
No.
There should be a
That
lot of
just
space
is,
to
yeah.
do that, though, like you're saying.
Yeah.
There,
like,
you know,
there
with the
should be
promenade
for both.
and
Yeah.
the, you know,
Art walk.
art walk.
Yeah.
So there's going to be
Yeah,
like
there-
little plaques and stuff
Exactly, yeah.
honoring
Yep.
different.
Or the fire pit, I mean,
things.
I wouldn't want my name on a fire pit, but, you know, there's other areas within the
Well,
park.
there's lots of
that
opportunity.
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity. I would love to see that. But I think it's a really nice name. Out of all the names you had here, it was the number one.
Agreed.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, two historic things. We're gonna rename a park tonight.
Thank you.
Do we vote on this, or? Oh. Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Okay, there's a resolution.
there's a resolution.
Oh, 1567, okay.
Okay.
Do you wanna do it since?
Okay, I make a motion to pass, I can't see it up there, but to pass a resolution naming our new events park. A resolution approving the park located within the Harbor District to be named Lost Lake Commons.
All right, we got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second?
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that passes. Got a new name.
That's Lake Park.
Lost
Now,
Lake Commons.
I have something I want to just throw out
No
for
park.
people to start thinking about.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is in relation to the park, you know, the next thing that the Park Commission is going to bring back to you
Yeah.
is a strategy on wayfinding signage.
Yes, yes.
And we've talked about this in general. We talked about it as a way to help identify businesses within our communities. But I think everyone should be thinking about, are we going to do this for all businesses or for certain kinds of businesses? And how do we categorize businesses? So I sort of sat down and tried to think about all the businesses that we had in the community. And I came up with, we have like family recreation, which is Surfside. It's the golf and Minnetrista, or the farm. You know, those are family recreation areas. There's family dining, which would be, and I put family dining, the ones where alcohol wasn't a major component of the dining. So I put the street taco place, Subway, the Legion, the New Mexican restaurant. But then in adult dining, you put maybe like Lord Fletcher's, and do we do Lord Fletcher's? It's in Spring Park. Do we do the Loon, which is in Navarre? Or, you know, because we're going to have to decide, are we going to be just Mound, or are we going to be regional?
I'd say just Mound.
I say just Mound.
But you were
That's
talking
the
about
charm of
wayfinding
Mound.
signage.
Wayfinding
For Mound, not
signage,
just
yeah.
restaurants, but like
Right.
Surfside
Well,
Park
why
this
do we
way.
want to direct
Yeah.
people to other cities? We want to keep them in Mound.
Okay, well, I'm with you on that,
Yeah.
but, you know, we just haven't talked about that.
I
and-
like doing it not for just, like, I just thought of like restaurants and where to go, but it makes sense that you would, if you're coming on the Dakota Trail, to say,
Right.
you know, Surfside Park this
Mhm.
way.
Or like the
to include
museum.
that,
Mhm.
Yeah, or
You
Centerview
know,
Beach, you know.
when the first time I talked about wayfinding, it was
Yeah.
to get people to go to the museum because it's over here
Yeah.
and no one knows it's over here, and stuff. So, now my understanding is our consultants, our engineers, and the group that helped us with the park design have experience in this wayfinding methodology, and so they'll help us, I assume,
You want to say?
in defining this and figuring out what we include and what we don't include. But we need to have some definitions about that before we go out, I think.
Ms. Pugh, if I can support some of your ideas. One of the things that Matt and I have tasked our landscape architects with, that are working with us on Lost Lake Commons, is to put forth some options for us to bring back to you all of things that they have done elsewhere, that they were creative, that worked real well in terms of placemaking and wayfinding. It doesn't overlap with any of the things you were saying. I think it would just provide some examples of a menu of some things to pick from, and you guys could still decide, what do you want on there, but what do we want it to look like?
Yeah.
Where do we put it? Those are the things that our landscape architects are very good at. So we will continue picking away at that, and we'll probably need to come back to you to let you know when that will be something we can discuss.
Yeah.
I see it as one of the, phase 2 or 3 improvements probably in Lost Lake Commons, but obviously that concept pervades much larger than just that park.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. You know, as a person on a boat, right? As I think of, coming off the boat and coming onto the deal there, and then right away, hey, you know, here's the ice cream shop right there.
Mhm.
Lost Lake Creamery, here's, you know, Caribou
Yeah.
Coffee, here, you know. And as you go through Spring Park, you know, they got those banners now, right?
Oh,
Have you noticed those on the light posts?
oh, no,
So drive that way to Spring Park.
Okay.
Not that way. And, yeah, they feature all these businesses, which
Where
is
they have
actually,
those big bowls with plants.
no, I'm talking
on it?
banners.
These are banners.
Like, you know, like the American flags that they have,
Oh, yeah.
that they do from the
Okay.
light posts? They have banners that in case like, Back Channel Brewery,
Mhm.
I think the healthcare clinic, the
Okay.
drive-in. They actually
Okay.
do a couple, I think, unless I'm wrong, that are not in that city.
Mhm.
Again, I don't think I would wanna do that, but good for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Minuteman
Minuteman
Printing,
Press.
I think they're in here,
That's in
they're in
Mound.
Mound,
They're
Yeah.
around.
but they're on the banner, and maybe
Uh-huh.
because they printed it.
Are the businesses donating
I
towards
don't,
the banners?
I have no idea, I just saw them go up a month ago or so, and I was like, oh, cute idea, I don't know if that's
I've seen those too.
something
But
that.
I'm curious if, you know, if there's some promotional, I'll ask Minuteman, I'm over there a lot.
Yeah,
I'll ask Paula.
ask her, yeah.
I'm sure there are different ways, and we probably should check with other cities. The league, maybe, of cities could tell us the range of communities that the city pays for it, the businesses pay for it. You know, and you're gonna, you know, we'll create the template, so they'll all be the same.
Well, they're all different, they have
Yeah.
their logo,
Oh, they
they're
do?
different colors,
Oh,
they're different, you know, you've seen them?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, they look great.
Yeah, they look really nice.
We should have in the park though, like what you said about the, not
Mm-hmm.
just the wayfinding signage, but, I mean, right at the parking lot where we're working, you walk outside and there's just like a stand with like a plaque or like
Yeah.
a podium and it's just like
The map.
it's this big. I mean, there should be like, maybe not right outside the boats, but,
Mhm.
so you dock your boat, you walk into the plaza of the park, there should just be like a little podium there and it's
Right.
like, this is where you go.
Yep.
I mean, there could be another one, I don't know,
Yeah.
somewhere else in town, but two of them would be easy to have. We should do it if we're gonna redo that whole area.
Well, again, I think that's what
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the parks board is
they're
on.
gonna help us.
You guys can maybe
Yeah.
come up with some good ideas, and I do agree with you about leaving people out, is, okay, so you put, you know, Casa, but you didn't put Carbonis, or, you know, whatever,
No,
right?
No,
So-
I had Carbonis on my list.
No, I'm just saying, like,
But, yeah.
if we
right,
left someone out,
Right.
the laundromat, well, is it more about food and getting food, or is it more about, you know, no,
Well,
it's in our town?
It's about
Where do you cut
attracting
it off?
people.
Where do you cut the line,
Yeah, to
right?
spend.
So,
And they
like, I'm
shouldn't
sure
be
you guys
beige.
can figure that out, but,
Yeah.
what's that?
And they shouldn't be beige.
And they shouldn't be beige.
No.
Beige.
Okay, well, all right, we passed that then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then now we're on to number 10, I guess. Council member Pugh reports from you.
Well, I've just, well, I spoke at a University of Minnesota Age-Friendly conference yesterday on isolation and stuff, so that was, it was interesting to be there, and they had a variety of workshops, and it was streamed, so people can go back and view it and stuff. One of the questions they asked was, what does joy in your community look like?
What is in your community?
Joy
Joy,
in
okay.
your community look like? And I said, you know, one of the things I think in Mound is, it's around our volunteerism. When we have groups that volunteer and make something happen, there's just this joy that happens. So it's Festival of the Lakes, it's the playground, it's the fire department's fish fry. You know, when people in this town come together around things that are organized by the residents as volunteers, because their commitment to the city, you see the joy of residents here. That's it.
All right. Councilmember McEnany?
I'm good tonight.
Okay. Councilman?
Nothing for me.
So I just have just a couple comments, but, so Maggie, with the new newsletter, can we kind of just like a recap of what we talked about with the water and spending the 10.3 and all that? Can we maybe come up with a good graphic or like, again, kind of the timeline or, I mean, obviously, we don't want to give false hope if our timeline gets messed up, but just, you know, kind of this is what we did. Hey, by the way, we finally got this money, we're finally spending it. And I know we talked about this kind of before, but, you know, it should be probably a, you know, big, like a whole page should be devoted to what we're doing with this water treatment plant, so people know what's going on. Just a comment, remember that fishing pier that on Dutch Lake?
Yeah.
So just an update on that, it sounds like July 8th, that's going in-ish, right, Jesse?
That's
Just
the
in
date
time
we
for
were
school
given.
to be out.
Yeah. July 8th,
That's the date the DNR gave us.
that's the date at the DNR, okay. Our workshop tonight, we did not have at 5, so we're gonna punt that to, is that July 9th at
Yes.
5?
When is that?
July 9th, like our next
Did
council
you
meeting?
send an email out about that?
Well, I guess, does that work for everybody?
I don't know, I'm not in front of my calendar.
Okay.
But July 9th, I'll look.
Let's just
That's
pencil
our
it
next
in, if it
council
doesn't work, email Jesse.
We didn't have a workshop for that date already,
No,
right? Okay.
no, so we're just kind of moving it.
Cool.
Unfortunately, Councilmember Larson was stuck up north, so, more or less, she kind of called it anyway, so we thought, well, she should probably be
For
there.
sure. Yeah, she was driving that one.
Right, so, anyways, so we did that. And then, I just, you know, as we're getting close to the budget season, you know, this last week, we were all here. It wasn't recorded, but it's audio recorded, or no, it was just minuted. But anyway, we talked about the long-term financial plan, and looks like we have kind of a way forward on that. But just on top of that, Jesse and I talked, and we want to make sure that, and you're going to be part of this, obviously, the budget coming up here. He's going to start meeting with the different departments and kind of seeing what their needs are and whatnot. But just because of what we talked about with our long-term financial plan and kind of setting up a road, we still don't want to just be overspending or, you know, kind of going nuts. And, I mean, last year was tough, just with inflation, 40-year inflation catching up to us and this and that. So anyway, we just chatted about that. So I'm sure you'll meet with all your departments, and then that'll come to us, and then we'll, I think, you did it last year too. We lined item, I mean, we went through
Everything. I don't remember when our next budget committee meeting is. We don't have one yet, but.
well, till, what, a month or so? Probably once you guys are done,
But yeah, once you had the budget from each department, then we went through and.
you know.
So that's coming up.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. So Noah and I, now that we have the long-term financial plan done, we're now working on the schedule for the 2025 budget.
Yeah.
So we should be able to get that out to you hopefully next week.
Okay.
So we're just kind of finalizing kind of each month and what we're going to cover. And yeah, like you said, Mayor, first phase will be starting to meet with department heads starting next week. So we're going to start internally, but we'll get that schedule out to you so you know what to expect in the next coming months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then again, we'll probably vet it out.
Yeah,
first,
we'll
the
include
budget committee.
yeah, we'll make sure we reach out to you both to make sure the timeline meets what, like, that you know when those finance committee meetings are projected to be, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And I know it's already almost July, so this will go, I mean, September, right? We want to,
Yeah.
it'll go fast, so. Anyway, just update on that. Just a couple other just random things. I know Centennial, I think you said all the title work was done. The next step is we're gonna reach out to a commercial realtor, right?
I talked to somebody, said they were gonna contact me, I have to follow up with it.
Okay.
So whether or not that's gonna be fruitful, I don't know, but.
Right, but at least,
Yeah.
let's
Make a
keep
note of
moving
that.
it forward, and then we can, you know, whatever you guys find out, we can bring it back and talk about it again. And then, I don't know if you guys remember, like Langdon, that property behind Langdon there, or on Langdon Lake, you know?
Stacy's spot?
No, Well, actually, that's a good update too.
Well,
I'm glad you said that.
I was gonna ask about that too.
So, yes, actually, Jesse and I just met with her the other day.
I
Yeah,
get
so this is
so
the,
many emails asking what's going on there,
well,
nothing.
I said, give me permission to tell everybody what's going on, because we're all waiting.
Thank you.
Yeah. And she was, yep, she says, yeah, definitely tell people what's going on. So the old U-Haul building, right?
Dwayne's.
The service station. So she's all, we approved everything last year, right? So she's all ready to go. She's waiting on an architect to sign off on the actual plans. So the architect that she used was the guy that did the skate park, I mean, well-known in Mound, I mean, good guy, but doesn't have a stamp, I guess. So she's trying to get a stamp. She reached out to a different architect to get a stamp. Once she gets that, then, again, I don't want to be too optimistic, but she's talking this fall, right, Jesse? So.
Well,
that's-
what's the business she's gonna put in?
Well,
Downstairs still.
Well, I don't think she knows that, but there's gonna be a garage for the bottom part, right? And then it's gonna be apartment on the top, and then a garage and apartment, so I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be business or rental. Well, it's gonna be rental no matter what, but I don't know if it's gonna be business or if it's gonna be more just a person living there, renting the spot. She didn't really specify that, right? I mean, we're just trying to get the thing built.
Yeah.
So, but, she knows that
Yeah.
we'd all like to see it moving along, and she said, yeah, we're gonna get it done, so hopefully that keeps moving forward. So.
Can you talk at all about the potential that we've been talking about for almost 2 years, the restaurant that's supposed to be going in over by Anytime Fitness?
He has an update on that.
I asked for an update at the last meeting about,
Yeah.
an informal update.
Yeah, informal update is,
There was some confusion among or about how the sewer access charges were being distributed because because there was another renter in the building now that renter's gone, and I believe so now the restaurant's gonna have everything. So that eliminates some of the confusion on the sewer access charges, and then the last I heard was, what was it, they were optimistic that we were gonna keep moving here. There was some stalls, mostly due to that, but I mean, we had a conversation actually the other day, and the owner said they were moving. I mean, they've been moving for a while, but
Right,
it sounded like they were closer. They had like everybody else, some issues getting all of their parts and things for the kitchen, but I don't think I got a direct timeline, but I mean, they've been steadily moving. He said that their normal timeline was 16 months, and they're on month 12 and feel confident they're gonna meet the 16, so I mean,
I
that's
feel like
this
we're
fall.
way beyond month 12.
So
Yeah,
so
well.
the bar is, like I walk by there all the time, and I just look in, and it's like the bar is getting built and stuff, but they have not applied, just because we did that resolution tonight, I mean, they haven't applied for a liquor license yet, so I mean, I don't see how they could open in the fall, but,
well, remember, it was supposed to be last fall,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it wasn't even the fall.
It was, well, it was for sure last fall.
Last fall, or it was
It
actually
might have
last
been-
spring, and then he pushed it to the fall, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him for probably a year, like Bob Gates, Scott Gates.
Scott.
Yeah.
I don't know, I had heard this fall, but, I mean, you can't train a staff in time, even if it was done right now, but, I don't know.
Well, at least they're doing something there.
Yeah.
Well, they're
Working
telling
on
us
it.
they're doing something,
Or whatever.
which is a good
I
thing,
mean,
I suppose.
At the end of the day, I mean, he's leasing the spot, so, I mean.
Yeah.
But Scott Gates has been up a couple of times speaking on behalf of a couple of other businesses, So I've always wanted to ask him in those, well, he's up speaking on behalf of others, how he's coming along himself. So thank you for that update. We'll just kind of keep our fingers crossed and.
Same.
Another update is Instagram. We're live, so whoever uses Instagram, start inviting friends. And how many people we got on there now?
I think Instagram's up to like 4.
4. All right. Well, we're getting
Hey.
there.
Well, it
Day to
didn't
time.
work for the first
Oh,
couple
yeah,
of
we gotta-
days, so.
That's true. It didn't get back up until this Monday.
Right.
So
It's got a couple of posts on it though.
yeah, it does.
Good job, Maggie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
same thing happened with Facebook, where, you know, you go live and then they take it down because
Yeah.
they think you're
They think
someone
you're-
else, or,
Yeah, you just have to prove that you are what you're doing, so.
and then we'll share that on the newsletter.
Well, we just got Brian on Instagram following.
So, oh,
All right, we have what, 5 friends now?
5.
15 followers.
15.
Oh, they're 15?
Great.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
I was off.
All right, nice. And then eventually, I know once we were gonna get that up and running, I think we're gonna talk about doing like Meet the Staff Wednesdays and Facebook and Instagram, and I think you're maybe gonna help with that, or
Yeah.
however you guys wanna figure that out, but, and that- maybe not, maybe it's monthly. I mean, it doesn't have, but I think that article that the two of you in the paper, you know, I've heard a lot of good buzz on that.
Yeah, that was nice.
Now, this is just social, but still, I mean, it's nice to know that we're humans, and, or at least we think we are. And then, let's see, can you give just a update on that? Remember the green painted drains to the lake and stuff? So remember we kind of put that on our list of something to think about this year, and, you know, we're halfway through the year, right? Basically, so,
What
remember,
is-
we were talking about like looking into, you know, the storm drains that go down to the lake. You know how some communities,
yeah.
they do like a green or like a little fish symbol or
Oh, yeah, that's
blah, blah,
right.
blah. One of your chores was to look into that, and you have just, I mean, just a high level update, I guess, on that.
Well, I had talked to Ryan about it, who I offered to throw under the bus here,
Yeah,
since he's here.
throw him under the bus.
Which was gonna tie into my report, but
Yeah.
I'll let him speak and then I'll
Yeah,
say
do
what I was
both,
gonna
yeah,
say.
yeah.
As far as painting them, I don't think we'd want to get into that with how many we have across town, but
Okay.
I've seen in a lot of other cities have placards or some kind of designed thing that can be,
Like a stamp.
yeah, a stamp
Yeah.
or something along that lines. We don't want to take up the concrete that's already there, so we'd have to look at something that we could mount next to it, along the curb, next to the catch basin, something along that lines, but
Okay.
haven't looked into it yet, but that's kind of just the discussion we started having. If we get into paint, it's gonna be fading and just to keep up on the maintenance of that.
Right.
It's just gonna be too much of a workload.
So does that, again, this is just a crazy idea in my head, but, and I've seen other communities do it. Is this something that we just want to scratch for now?
I agree. I think it will be so laborious to try to keep it up that all I can see is more extra hours for you guys.
Well, one
Yeah,
thing-
I mean,
Or like,
But
you know,
maybe
the
there's
mating
another
thing.
way to
I
display it.
think even
you know?
with more communication, we could start doing some stuff on social media, take some pictures, maybe our videos that we're gonna do, we can
Yep.
do a little video about what happens and where
What
it
happened.
goes, just to do a
Yeah.
little more education.
That would
'cause-
be fun.
We could put placards on every one of them, and there's hundreds of them, but
How many are
most people
there?
aren't gonna read that.
You told us once how many we had.
The catch basins, I don't have top of my head. I think we were talking about hydrants.
I think,
Yeah,
I feel like I remember reading that stat and I was blown away.
it's quite a bit. I
Yeah.
mean, I know the hydrants off the top of my head, and that's 460 right there, so there's more catch basins than there's hydrants in town.
Okay.
In some communities on National Night Out, they do that.
Right, right.
And so that would be another thing to tie it in with the communities that do a National Night Out party to do that.
They do like adopt a storm drain type of thing.
Or they do the ones around the houses where they're having the party.
Right. So again, the good and bad with that is then you have like 5, you know, that are painted, and then some, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Don't we already have an adopt the storm drain?
No.
Don't
We
we
have
already
a
have
top of
that?
hydrant, which
I know
I
we
let
have-
people shovel out in the winter.
Oh.
I could have sworn we had the adopt the storm drain, but I could be wrong.
Okay, well, I just have a couple more things after that, but do you want to say anything else?
Do you wanna do that now?
Or do you want me to finish?
Yeah, why don't you finish?
Okay, all
So I
right,
got
go
a
sit
couple
down.
things to say.
All right, just 2 more things. So, one is, part of, you know, getting the message out, right? Like, I know my main thing, and I know that was a big thing for you, is, you know, be more transparent, get the word out. What are we doing? newsletter, your social, website, all that stuff. Our guy upstairs, Andrew, and Maggie, in coordination, we were talking to them and saying, like, let's do a promo video on Mound, right? Just a short, 1.5, 2 minute max, right? Very reasonable fees. We've talked about it. And we have a council kind of outreach budget per se. That's another thing, and how we'll tie into the booth that we're going to talk about in a minute too. But this is very inexpensive, but it's a good look for us. It's a good outreach, and let's celebrate, us and who we are and whatever. But very high level, and so I basically just said, hey, can you look into this and just kind of go with it? And like, again, I don't need to be part of it per se, but if anybody else wants to give their thoughts and 2 cents to her, and one of the thoughts is, first of all, she did this in our community. I'll let you talk in a second. They had a drone, right? So Andrew upstairs knows a guy with a drone. It's like professional footage.
He does our planning commission meetings.
Oh.
Because I wanted to hire him to do Mound,
Yeah.
the drone.
Yeah.
We've talked extensively about it. That's what he does.
Nice. Well,
What were you thinking on like timing of it? That was my only question. I mean, right now with like, we have the new park that's done now, and then now the Lost Lake Commons, that's gonna, it's like.
so what I envision in my head is like 3 videos, right? Let's do one now. If we hate the first one, then we just don't do the next 2. But let's do one just highlighting. Again, I'm going to leave it up to Maggie to kind of do it. And again, if you guys have suggestions, please, say, hey, we talked about this. This is what I'd like to see. But I mean, right now, Surfside's done, right? I mean, we're not doing anything else. So get it on a good day. The park's filled and the boats are there and everybody's having a good time on a Saturday. Do a drone video of that, right? You do, again, maybe not with all the orange cones all over town, right? But, do some good footage of, downtown where Jubilee is, and, this is what Mound has amenities. So she's got a really cool video. Maybe you can email it to us, but it's Montrose, right?
Yeah, it was a video that I worked on. Well, I
Long time
didn't
ago.
do it, but I helped with it. It was about 5 years ago. It's on YouTube. It was just a community highlight video that they did for their EDA at the time, highlighting what they have to attract commercial businesses. But just a little bit about that really quickly. Andrew and I did meet today to kind of start the process of discussing that. And any ideas from you all? We had a couple cool ideas already. One, fire department, kind of, I don't think people realize like the training and the prep work that goes into that, and doing like a quick 1-minute video on that. Or something, Ryan, I already talked to Ryan, like coming up with an idea, highlighting some public works stuff too. But then, like you said, Mayor, like a video highlighting the community too. But it'd be kind of cool to try and come up with creative ideas on showing residents, like more highlighting what we do that people don't see. So that was just some ideas we came up with today, but always open to more ideas. So bring them, like email me or connect with me if you have
Really
any
fun
ideas.
idea.
Fire department's a really good idea. I mean, there's so much
I think
equipment
LMCC
there.
did
did,
something
yeah.
on the fire department.
First responders.
Yeah, I remember.
So the way I envisioned the first one is, again, I don't know if it, like, why to move to Mound or why we live here or whatever, but just Mound, right? And then show us some of our parks. We have 30-some parks, right? Show
38.
38. Oh, well, you would know that. And then, just again, kind of a couple staple things. You know as well as I know, about a minute or so, you just start losing everybody, right? So don't make it too long, but a minute or two. And again, I don't know if Maggie, if you want to share, but the cost of this should be pretty low. I mean, really, all in.
Yeah, so it's so the quote we were given was $500 for a 1-minute video.
Right. So if you do 2 minutes, it's $1,000. I mean, again,
Yeah, and he's a professional. He knows how to edit and get the great shots quick, to keep
It's not
people
very expensive.
captivated.
Now, the drone on top will be an extra expense to get the drone guy on top of the video guy, but anyway, I think we do one for sure. You know, he's not going anywhere, so, I mean, if you wanna do another one, then we do another one. But let's just do one. I'd say get it done. Let's just do it. Let's just get it done. You
Well,
know,
the thing that I find interesting, you know, on the weekends, I always go and get my favorite ice cream cone. And so when I went over to the ice cream store this weekend, when I pulled up and I parked, I was like shocked. There must have been 40 bikes parked. You know, he has those bike racks. And just the impact of, you know, maybe having someone come down the trail and get off and park their bikes there.
yeah, go to the.
And, you know, and twice that place filled up
Yeah.
with 30 people in less than 30 minutes.
Yep.
And getting the farmer's market, I mean, there's so
Farmer's
many
market,
great
yeah.
highlights
Yeah.
in that area, you know. It'll be really fun. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, another idea was highlighting more about the liquor store and where that revenue goes into our community, but again, just another idea.
Yeah, yeah. So again, I would say run with Mound and big picture, what we do, who we are. Here's some amenities, come get some ice cream. Here we got the Dakota Trail, we got Surfside Park. We have 30 other parks, so we don't have to show every one of them. High
I actually
level,
met a couple that boated over to get
yeah,
ice cream.
boating over to get ice cream, that'd be great. So you gotta do this by the fall, I guess. So, anyway, no pressure, but I think getting that done would be pretty cool. And then throwing it out, you know, we have this YouTube. And just remember, by doing this YouTube move versus LMCC, CC, right? Yeah. You know, we have a lot of, was it 75 grand, right? Is what we were
I don't know.
handling over to them, basically.
Yeah, there's the promotional shift of what it was costing to go to work with LMCC. It just kind of changed
Yeah.
our budget, so we were able to reduce expenditures, and then,
So
but we did.
We're not
keep up-
saving quite 75, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we're saving a lot of money. So doing a video or two is still way cheaper than what we were doing, you know, even last year.
We should
Yeah.
promote get a drone to do like what it looks like when you boat to Lost Lake.
Yeah, boating to Lost
Through
Lake.
under the
People-
bridge.
Nobody even knows that you
I
can
know.
do that.
I know, which
Yeah.
is kind of nice.
Like, you can boat into Mound? Like, dude.
There's somewhere to park when you go.
It's all slow wake, but it's pretty when you go.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Just be careful with your topper. So, yeah, again, I mean, just, no pressure, but just big picture, what do you think timeline on something like that would be?
Well, you can give him a deadline.
Upstairs?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I mean,
just
well-
say we want it done by August or
Yeah.
whatever you want.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'll talk with Andrew. I think where we left the meeting was, we had a few ideas, and I would talk with department heads on kind of what we would want to include, and then come back to him. But, yeah, I can come back to you with what we think is a realistic deadline for the first video.
Okay. So again, I think, you know, boating in, hey, we're a boating community, the ice cream shop, the different, couple restaurants in town, you know, or maybe don't specify, but hey, we have food options, and drive here, you can bike here, you can, you know.
But
blah-
you're kind of talking about two different kinds. You're talking kind of entertainment, you know, good vibes and now,
Right,
and
right.
informational.
Yeah, and I'd say
So
do.
you need to decide if you want to start with the good vibe thing or informational, or how you want
I
to
would say
direct
good vibes.
Maggie to
Yeah.
have him work on.
So the department head things, I would wait for that. So,
Okay.
you know, featuring the fire and police, and, you know, I think do more big picture, why come to Mound, you know, what do we have here, promotional stamp on Mound.
Okay.
Again, you can mention those, like, hey, we have great public works, we have great police, we have great fire, but I wouldn't spend time, you know, oh, here's our fire chief, and we're gonna interview him, you know. Again, this is gonna be a fast, you know, minute and a half, 2-minute thing. Otherwise, people are gonna lose interest, and they're gonna scroll to the next thing. But I would just do that, and again, it's July, so I would say, I don't know why we couldn't have at least the shooting and everything done by the end of the summer, and maybe feature something, you know, September. Maybe he's done edit, I don't know how long it takes him for an edit,
No,
but, So, yeah. That's what I would shoot for. Let's say September, go live on it, if that's possible.
Okay.
If it's not, let us know.
Sounds good.
And then last thing, our booth at Spirit, we're gonna do that again, right? Anybody wanna do that?
I have my class reunion, so I won't even be here Saturday.
Okay. Anybody wanna sit at a booth all day?
No,
I
that
did
day,
it last
but
year.
Yeah.
We did like shifts. I can't remember the time.
We did
span.
shifts, yeah.
I can't remember the time, you know,
Yeah.
maybe 2 hours or something. I mean, I'm up
When,
for it, I guess.
when
but-
does it start? What time does it start? I can't
Well, I think she has us on the list to have a booth, so I think we have a
Oh,
booth.
okay.
remember.
Maybe we can drop out, I guess, but,
Well, I can put in some time.
We can get more details on it for the next
4 hours.
meeting, I guess, just time span and.
Yeah.
okay. Well, why don't we just, what did we do, like,
We
it's right after
started
the
early.
parade, and then till 5, 4 or something like that?
And the park
Well,
commission.
it all ends at 6.
At 6,
All
okay.
All the
Alright.
tents do. And
Okay.
if I can do like I did last year, the first early shift, if I don't stay overnight
Yeah,
at my, you know, it's a 2-day event. so.
oh, yeah. Well, again, I think we have a tent, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have us down for one. And then we're gonna have to come up with some material. I know you had all that water stuff.
I can bring the shop local, I can have an extra poster done for that.
Okay.
We can bring in the car stickers, the
Yes.
shop local.
Yes.
We had the same banner as last year for the time.
I have extra of those from last year. I have 4 stands that you can do 4 banners.
And that was your tent, right?
No, I
That
don't know
was-
where. I
Is
don't
that
know-
Public Works tent?
I don't know where Eric got it.
I believe Spirit has extra ones, is what we set
Okay.
up.
Well, someone's gotta remember to get a tent. So,
Eric got it somewhere, I don't know where.
okay. All right.
I brought the table and,
We'll make sure, all right.
yeah, I mean, I brought the table and all that
Okay.
stuff. but-
So if you can't be around, then just give us all the stuff. and
Yeah, I
then
will.
We'll set it up or whatever. Then you have enough stickers to go around? Like if everybody
Well, we
had it
have
on?
what we have.
Okay,
There's probably 200 left.
okay.
That's plenty.
Is that enough to, you don't think they'll roll around?
Well, you will run out probably.
Okay.
But I wouldn't just stand there and hand them to people.
No,
When
we'd
people
be
come to
there.
the building, say, you know, are you interested in a car decal?
Right.
You know,
Okay. So just use what we got. If we run out, then we
Yeah,
can
then
do
we'll just
more
print
next
more,
time.
yeah.
Well, we'll have to do more for winter probably, for the winter thing. And then, I would say with, again, that water treatment plant and what we just talked about tonight and spending and kind of the timeline and whatnot, doing some kind of graphic, I don't know if you want to do that or have Maggie work on something like that. Like, your whole thing was amazing. I don't know if you have time to do something like that again, but, just so people know, oh, hey, we got a big water issue here. Let's talk about it.
well,
Now
you
we
know,
have-
it helps when you have pros giving you all the information to put on a poster. And I'm
Yeah.
looking at Brian and Matt.
So can you give us?
So if they want to send me info, I can put together another poster for that.
Okay. Just, stamps of, just.
You know, like a
easy
timeline of-
Easy information.
Yeah, focus on the water treatment plant.
Yeah,
Yeah, just, hey, we got the 10.3, the total
Mhm.
cost is this.
and then, you know, we could do that in the middle with the arrows, kind of directing the timeline.
Should have a sign on there to directing to our Facebook and Instagram too.
Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And then can you also say the 957 that we got, federal? And then also that we submitted for another 4? Just so people know, hey, and we're gonna keep doing it.
Do we need a thermometer? It's filled in, partially filled in, like the school funders?
If you want, I don't know, it'll only go
Oh,
a third of the
you know what,
way.
That's why I'm the engineering thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
People are gonna be like, oh man, that's a long way to
We'll
go.
give you the information.
Yes, you did a great job last time. It was a lot to siphon through. This one will be a lot easier.
Any other thoughts? I mean, because we're gonna be there.
We'll do something on the new park,
New park?
phase
Oh,
1.
concept phase 1
Yeah,
would be
concept phase
good to show that.
Yeah, I guess just figuring out what we need to have, like I can be there
Yeah.
for part of the time and then figuring out, but I mean, Kathy doesn't need to bring or like the table and everything, just like a little list of everything we'll need while we're there, I guess, I don't know.
I mean, if you show phase 1 and then the water treatment plant, both sides of it,
Mhm.
That's
Well, I have
two.
enough, I have 4 stands. so-
Oh,
I think we just gave out candy and, we didn't give out water, we just gave out candy.
we gave out candy. We
Yeah.
need, Jesse, we need a lot of candy.
Candy and stickers,
Yeah.
We might need to have water though this year.
maybe.
And maybe
Just like
water.
Little, like the little ones, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, they're gonna get water everywhere else too.
There's plenty of places to buy water,
True.
Yeah.
right there.
I can't think of anything else we need. I was just in my head, I'm like, well, what do we want to have under our tent that day? Because it was nice being there. We were kind of there 2 at a time and not
Yeah.
being stuck there yourself, so.
And we were set up before the parade ended, we were all ready to go. And Ryan, your guys worked their tails off at that thing, so you were really helpful last year getting the tent up and the sandbags and all that stuff. Thank you for all the work you do down there.
One other thought, Mound Citizen of the Year. Can we do a little box? How fast is it to fill that thing?
Well,
It's not that
people
bad.
have to do a description, don't they?
Well, they could
We
get,
got
we
all
could
the
get little
paragraphs.
tear-off things and be like, hey, do you wanna submit it? Or they could just take it and say, hey, I'll take it home and
Have
I'll.
you put anything out for people to actually be thoughtful about this?
We're gonna put it in the newsletter, gonna do like a full page, or a good size of the page anyway. And then, I mean, you know, was it October or November, I think is the deadline, right? So we wanna start, we only need one, really. Some of, you know, we
Park
need to start
Commission's
getting,
making a recommendation.
what's that?
Park Commission's gonna make a recommendation.
Okay. So again, out of the 4, I think we can do one, you know, hey, do you have a, you know, Mound Citizen of the Year?
Well, let's think about this, because those posters are big, and what is it, a 7 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot, 10?
10 by 10.
10 by 10. You know, and you know how crowded it was last year. We had a poster on both sides.
Yeah.
And the table in the middle, and that pretty much took up all the room.
Yeah, so you're saying 4 posters?
I'm just saying,
talking
I
about-
have the availability, but we're gonna need to see where the tent, you know, they assign you a spot
Yeah,
where your
it's
tent's
the
gonna
same
be.
one.
So,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
I'm saying like 2, right? Water treatment plant, and then, what's the other thing I said? Park.
Park.
Yeah, phase 1.
Yeah.
And water treatment. That's both sides, and then in the middle, we can
Like
say.
a small,
just like a piece-
small stand.
we can just
8.5
get
by 11 type thing.
100 of these things and say, yeah, just do a little thing on there, hey, submit your Mound Citizen of the Year, and then take a flyer.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of stands for that, smaller
Yeah.
ones that you
Yeah.
can put on the table.
So I think that would be a good thing. Someone's writing this down, right? Thank you. Beyond that, I mean, I don't know what else. Give out candy and then answer questions.
I just flipped it this way.
There, man, you're there to
I saw you turn the page.
listen.
It's all,
Right.
it's all good.
Okay. So again, I'm not gonna bore you guys because it's 8:30, but I kind of went through and like, are we keeping on track to kind of like our priorities for this year? And I think we are. I mean, pretty good. And again, maybe we can do that next session and bring it up on the thing, but we're staying pretty much on track. I know you guys got a whole crap load of things to do all the time, but anyway, I'm following along all the time, so. Okay, anyway, I'll hand it over to Jesse.
I've got 2 things. So next week's the holiday, so City Hall's closed on the 4th, obviously. So we do half-days, Fridays for the summer. Pretty much everybody already is put in for PTO. I was going to basically say to the council, unless there's any major disputes to it, that we close the office and allow everybody to use PTO since we're only open till 11:30 anyway on the 5th. I'm anticipating it being pretty slow. I don't even know that everybody wants to, but I just wanted to, rather than leave the meeting today and have somebody ask, because it sounds like that's been done in the past. So unless there's any major disagreements, that's probably the route we'll go. But like I said, I've already heard that maybe a couple people want to work anyway. It's mostly because it's one of those days where nobody's going to come in and.
Would everybody be taking PTO?
Correct.
then?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd say that's kind of a no-brainer then.
And then.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay, yeah. And the other thing is, actually, you were mentioning the Meet the Employee Wednesday thing. I think I got a great candidate for it, because Ryan Preach, the new Public Works Director for Mound, he was formerly the superintendent, so he's been promoted. That was one of our big priorities for the year, of course, that means now we get to backfill going forward, but so that was as of yesterday, so I invited him to come here today and see what it's all about.
Congratulations, Ryan. You do a
Nice.
great
Come on up.
job.
Oh, thank you. I've been here almost 9 years, and I've been growing with the city, and I guess all I have to say is thanks.
What changed your mind?
I had a lot of conversations after our candidate took another offer. I know him and, understand why he went that way, and I guess it was just needed a boost of confidence, just go ahead and do it, and I just, I didn't really want another person. I was comfortable with working with him and didn't want another person coming in to manage me and have different ideas, and we've been here a long time, so I just said, all right, it's the next step.
Well, as
We're lucky to have you. That's
Right.
great.
As you know, I mean, I know I'm not speaking just for me, but we've all looked at you as that natural next step.
I
So,
appreciate that.
That's
maybe-
why I asked what changed your mind.
I talked to these guys, they were all positive and behind me, and I don't know if I traditionally have always held myself back on a little nervous, I don't jump around jobs, I don't push myself forward as much as I should, but I know I can do the job, and I have a good staff behind me that's willing to help out, so.
Well, we think it's awesome that we can take someone, amazing long-term employee that is really, really good at their job.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, we're losing you in that position, but we're also gaining you over here, which is great.
Yep.
It also sends a message to other people that want to work here that
Advancement.
we will advance people that are good and hardworking and do a good job. And so, it was a good time hanging out with you in the park the other day. After you did all the hard work, and you and your guys putting the park together, and then we had music in the park, and I mean, it's cool that you even just spend time in our community, even though you don't live here. So,
Yep.
that doesn't hurt either.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we're all excited. I think Jesse made a good decision. It's not my decision to make, but Jesse, I think, made a good one, and I applaud you. Good job. Go get them.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mound's lucky to have your continued knowledge, and you've worked with Matt and Brian for so long, it'll be a match made in heaven.
Thanks again.
Sorry, Matt.
Thank you.
You got to step down now, or step over.
Work it up together.
Yeah.
Team Ryan, don't worry.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, anyway, that's done finally. So we're done. We're done with that public works. But now we got to backfill you, and hopefully you can see one of your guys, or maybe kind of infill your own job. And I know you probably got people in mind, so, or you do, or whoever.
It sounds like there's some interested people, as it were. Posting should be done by tomorrow or Thursday, and
Good.
continue to move forward.
So the posting will be live like this week, probably?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then can you share that on social, or are we doing internal only?
We'll post internal
Only, for now?
to start.
And then
I mean,
if it
if for
fills,
some
then we're
reason
good.
there's no candidates or otherwise, but
Good.
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, good. Well, good, nice. All right, is that it?
That's all I got.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else for anybody else?
I have one more thing.
Yeah.
I assume someone knows, what is the perimeter of the new park? Because I was walking it and I thought, oh, this is like when I go to the high school and walk the gym.
Oh,
And
the
so
sidewalk?
we could put a sign that says, if you walk so many times around, it's, a half mile or a mile.
Well, I know
So it
Matt
could
will
be-
get you the numbers
Yeah.
either now or later.
Yeah.
Can you get them real fast, or should we talk?
Oh,
about
no,
Oh, all right. I didn't know what you were doing on your computer. All right.
I'm just tracking it for later.
Okay, all right, you can hand that
Yeah,
back.
it'd just be another thing for those of us who are older who walk.
Yeah, all right. Okay, well, if that's it, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, and then a second?
Second?
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, those opposed? All right, we're adjourned.